traffic. Gonna go deep. Has a man deep. It is caught for the touchdown.
Zach escapes pressure. Zach tucks in and runs. Zach Wilson's loose. Zach Wilson's running. He's got all day. He stays in bounds. Zach Wilson cuts it. Zach Wilson gets in the end zone for the touchdown.
Yo, Jets Nation, what is good? This is Richie from Jets Media, and today I got a special live stream for you guys in honor of the end of the season. I wanted to go out there and bring in one of the best Jets communities the best Jets community out there. I went out there and I'm like, all right, got to get the Jets YouTubers all on the same stream together. I reached out. Not all of them could make it. I did reach out to a bunch of other ones that are not on the stream right now. But we got Matt O'Leary, we got Greenbean, we got Ryan from Jets Talk, we got Ali, we got Jack, we got NYJ, Matt, and Mike, and we got Jake Asman joining later on. So this is going to be an awesome stream. I'm excited. Welcome into the stream. If you guys are new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like it if you guys enjoy. Before we bring everybody in from backstage, we're going to hear a quick word from the sponsor of Jets Media, DraftKings Sportsbook. The NFL playoffs are finally here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is kicking things off with a huge offer you do not want to miss. As we're counting down to Super Bowl 56, new customers that sign up to DraftKings Sportsbook can get 56-1 odds on any wildcard team to win their game. You bet just $5, you're going to win up to $280 of free bet money if your team is indeed victorious. That's right. If you bet $5, you can win up to $280 of free bets if your team is indeed victorious. If Sportsbook is still not available in your area just yet, you do not have to worry because everyone can play for huge cash prizes on the DraftKings Daily Fantasy Football Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot of millions of dollars in cash prizes with your first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and make sure you use my code JETSMedia in the link down below in the description. They're going to give you 56-1 odds in any wildcard game of your choosing. You just bet $5 and you're going to win $280 of free bets if your team is indeed victorious. Once again, that's my promo code JETSMedia, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. All right. It's time to bring in the boys from backstage. Let's do it. It's good,
Yo,
Jack.
What up?
Ali,
What up?
Ryan, Matt, Greenbean, NYJ Matt. Welcome into the stream, everybody. Whoa. So we're going to have some people joining in as well throughout the rest of the stream. This is going to be a awesome Jets talk. We're going to try to get to everybody. We're going to try to let everybody, take the microphone and give your thoughts about this season. So everybody in the chat, if you're not subscribed to everybody, that is down below in the description. Make sure you subscribe to every single person, whether it's on Twitter, on YouTube, please, because let's get this YouTube community up and running. So Jake Asman, he's not going to be joining until later in the stream. He'll be joining around 8:30 because he's actually on the ESPN radio down in Houston right now. So Jake will be joining later on in the stream. So don't you guys worry if you're curious of where he's at in the chat. So first and foremost, we're going to go around the table and I want you guys to introduce yourselves, give a little summary of what you do, whether it's on YouTube, Twitter, podcast, Instagram, and then give your overall summary in a nutshell of the Jets season that just got wrapped up. So starting off with you, Jack.
What's up, everybody? I'm sure most people in the chat know who I am. I'm Jack. I'm fortunate enough to be Richie's buddy, and I'm just happy to be here talking Jets with all these fine men. So couldn't be more excited. Happy to be here.
And we'll talk about the rest of the season after we introduce everybody. So Ali, your thoughts?
What's up, guys? I was waiting all week for this. It's good to have everyone in this group. We've all been on each other's channels throughout the season, last off season. So it's finally get the group together. We're getting new guys in here from last season. So can't wait to get started and let's go.
Yes, sir. NYJ Matt, I'm sure everybody is familiar with his Twitter account. Why don't you introduce yourself, Matt?
Yeah, NYJ Matt. I'm just a random dude from Central Jersey who made a Twitter account and season ticket holder. Very happy to be here with this group. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Matt's been on the channel for a while. If you guys don't know, Matt has a podcast, Broadway Jets. That's down below in the description. If you want to check out his podcast, make sure you check it out. Ryan from Jets Talk. I think you guys all know who he is as well. Ryan, let him know who you are.
What's good, boys? Good to be on here. Thanks for having me on. It's exciting. It's like getting the Avengers together. It's a lot of fun.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it does feel that way.
You know, I'm Jets Talk 24/7. Come over, Jet videos, live reactions, that sort of jazz.
Yes, sir. I love it. Greenbean.
Hey, so look how young I make everybody look. Isn't this fun? Isn't this a fun thing? Yeah, I'm psyched, man. This is cool. Look, the season's over. It's been exhausting, but here we are. I love all you guys. I can't wait to see what fun we get into, and I appreciate you asking me on, Richie.
Absolutely, absolutely. Always got to get Greenbean on any channel any stream that I get. Matt, how about yourself?
Yes, you can find my stuff at Matt O'Leary NY. Thank you to Richie for putting this together, and a lot of awesome content creators on here. So looking forward to our conversation tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to do this more often, and I want to reach out to even more Jets content creators. I'm aware that this is not the only Jets content creators that are on YouTube and on Twitter and everywhere else. I reached out to some, they couldn't make it. And some others are reaching out to me saying they want to be on the stream. Well, hey, reach out to me. I would love to have any Jets content creators on the show at any time. I'm open to meeting new people because this is a really healthy Jets community. And that's another reason why I wanted to do this, to bring everybody together, because we're all in this together. We're all like literally the same exact situation. New York Jets, diehard fans, been suffering for years, and we're just rabid, passionate Jets fans. So it feels great to have you guys on the channel. And again, I appreciate all you guys taking time to hop on the stream. And again, shout out to everybody in the chat tuning in. Let's get right into it. So I want to hear your guys' overall thoughts of the season in a nutshell, because we finished off with 4 wins. Robert Saleh finished off his first season as the Jets head coach. Mike LaFleur, his offense went from terrible. Everyone was like, what's going on? Mike LaFleur, he's terrible. And all of a sudden, everyone's like crowning him. Booth, Mike LaFleur, he's the GOAT. He's going to be a head coach in a couple of years. Zach Wilson had a roller coaster rookie season. We all know that he started off rough. 4 total touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Finishes off the year with around 8 total touchdowns to 2 interceptions. So we saw progression from the young rookie quarterback. And the 2021 draft class, I think, was an absolute home run of the season, and why the foundation that Joe Douglas has laid under Robert Saleh after their first season should give Jets fans a lot of excitement for the future. And as we all know, we are set up beautifully in the offseason with crazy draft capital, 4th most cap space in the NFL, and the New York Jets coaching staff will be at the Senior Bowl. So a lot of positive stuff are happening around the New York Jets. So I want to go around the table, and I want you guys to give your thoughts about the season in a nutshell and what you took away from it the most, and some positives and negatives. So starting off with you, Jack.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot to unpack, as you said. I guess I'll look at it from an offensive perspective first. As you said, Zach definitely had his struggles, but, he kind of found some sort of rhythm there towards the end of the season. At least he, limited the interceptions there in the last 5 games. That was my favorite thing to see, progression-wise from Zach. But, so many chaotic things this year between injuries and just, so many crazy things going on. The defense being the worst in the league, that's something I definitely didn't expect. So, this is just another chaotic year of Jets football, has its ups and downs. Biggest positive I can take away personally from this year is, the amazing rookie draft class that Joe Douglas just got for us. And, I think a bunch of those guys are going to be, long-term pieces and starting players for this team in the future. So definitely a lot of positive things about this year, a lot of negative things as well. But that's just life as a Jets fan, man. So I think we're set up well for next season.
Yeah, man. I think the expectations for this season going into it kind of lived up to it, in my opinion. Like in August, when I was thinking like what to expect for this year, a roller coaster, not a lot of wins, a young team making a lot of mistakes, and that's exactly what happened. And obviously a lot of things came out of left field that we didn't expect at the same time, but the season was pretty interesting. So Ali, if you can summarize the season in a nutshell, how would you describe it?
Yeah, like you said, Richie, like I wasn't expecting the season to go well. I didn't expect the season to go amazing and go playoffs and all this. I was expecting to see growth out of the young guys, and you saw first-year guys, second-year guys play well throughout the season. The rookies played well. Wilson, Carter, Moore led at their position. So all rookies were just all over the board for the Jets this season, and that's a good sign for Joe Douglas and how he drafted, and also just how they're developing a football team and a new foundation of a football team in New York. So, and then you also saw the coaching staff improve because some of these coaching, Robert Saleh, LaFleur, are both rookie head coaches that have a higher position now. And you saw from in the beginning of the year, Robert Saleh struggled, LaFleur struggled a little bit too. And then throughout the season, you saw him improve. You saw them get better. And, that's the improvement you want to see from your head coach and your rookies because they're developing together as a foundation of a football team. So that's the one positive I could say for the Jets team. Just the issue was just staying healthy. There's so many injuries throughout the season. We didn't know what Zach Wilson will have, what weapons he'll have every week. The defense had injuries. So the injury bug still is with the Jets, and that's something that I need to look at and see if they can improve on and fix up in New York. But look, the Jets have a foundation now, but now they got to go out and make some moves this offseason and try to improve so they can win ball games. So overall, we'll see, whatever. But the Jets are in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there, Ali. How about you, NYJ Matt? How can you summarize this chaotic up and down Jet season in a nutshell?
I think Ali put it best. The injuries, I want to watch my full team play. They don't have to be healthy the entire year, but give me 17 out of 22 starters playing the whole year, or give me something. The entire team being decimated with injuries was deflating, underwhelming. The defense, obviously, 32nd in the NFL. You don't expect that going into the year. But the good takeaways is you might have two homegrown skill position players who can be on this team on a second contract. The O-line improved week over week if you take out what happened in Buffalo. So a lot of good wins there. I'm looking forward to, obviously, all the good stuff we have ahead. When a year like 2018 ended with a rookie quarterback, we only had 3 or 4 draft picks. Cap space was and then we hired Adam Gase. Now we're moving into 2022 in the exact opposite direction with a ton of picks, a ton of cap, and a good head coach. So I think a lot of positives we have come down the road.
Love to hear the optimism because it's true that the positivity, it feels different right now because a lot of people keep asking me, hey, Richie, what's the difference between Sam Darnold's end of the season that ended off on a good note and Zach Wilson's? Well, Matt just put it best. The difference is we did not hire Adam Gase right now, and we're going into year number 2 of LaFleur and Saleh. So Zach Wilson's going to have continuity, and continuity is so huge for a young quarterback going into the same system. And we have draft capital. Everything just positioned beautifully this season if you want to compare the end of 2018 to where we're at right now. So I love that you brought that up, Matt. So Ryan, what's your thoughts about this season? Did it live up to the expectations? Did it exceed them? Did they not do it at all? What's your thoughts about this season, my man?
So it was interesting. I think when we got to like July and the beginning of August, I had a lot of optimism. And I was thinking, maybe floor was like 6 wins because I thought we were going to have a really nasty pass rush with Curry and Lawson, and we were really just going to get after it. And then when those guys went down, it just kind of like, roller coaster, right? Like you said, up high, injuries, Becton gets knocked out. You'd have like, I feel like the last 2 years we've been decimated by injury. I think we have been the most injured team over the course of the last 2 years. So not to be able to have all your weapons on the field at the same time, like I don't think we ever got to see a full starting lineup across the board. But I love what we have out of Moore. I love what we have out of Carter. I think this draft class I'm really excited about, whereas the 2021 this year has made me very concerned. I'm nervous about Becton. I don't feel like, I don't feel like he's super reliable. So I feel like offensive line is another big need for this team, like early on. Mims has been extremely disappointing. I feel like wide receiver is a big need for this team. 2 things that I thought going into this year were definitely going to be solved. We had a lot of drop passes. I do expect Corey Davis to have a better year next year. I don't know. It's interesting. Areas I thought we were going to be strong in, we were weak in, and areas we were like the secondary for me, like cornerback wise specifically, was thinking we were just going to get passed all over on. And we, defense was bad. Don't get me wrong, but I think Eccles, Michael Carter, and Hall all played phenomenally well for the situations they had. We couldn't put a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks. Not much safety help. Everyone's getting like injured there. But going out of the season, especially with us and the Senior Bowl right now, like that's really exciting. The 49ers, when they coached Senior Bowl in 2019, they drafted 4 players from that Senior Bowl, and 3 of them wound up becoming starters for them. So I think that's a really crucial part of this offseason, especially with us with so many draft picks. I think the needle is pointing up for the New York Jets. I think on Zach's part of the season, if you had told me that's how it would have gone when we drafted him, I'd be disappointed. But I think trending up towards the end of the year, like this last game, I'm crinkling it up, throwing it out, not even thinking about it. Get it out of the mind. It was a 16-game season. And then I think everything's trending up right now. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, cautiously optimistic is the right way to put it, because us Jets fans, we're very optimistic, but we have to realize we've been optimistic for a while, but it just feels different right now. It just feels different. Genuinely believe that, and I think Jets fans can agree with that statement there. We got a nice donation from Garrett. Upside cornerbacks, downside injuries. Very well put. I don't think anybody expected the cornerbacks to play that the way that they played this year, and the downside is injuries. Second year in a row that the Jets led the league with the most cap space on the injured reserve list.
So ridiculous.
What? What's good with that? What? It gets me so pissed when I bring it up. Greenbean, if you want to summarize this season in a nutshell, did it exceed your expectations? Did the season live up to everything you thought it would? How did you like the coaching staff? Just give your overall thoughts about the season in a broad terms before we get into the nitty-gritty of the details of it.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting season. I guess that's the word, right? Interesting. I wouldn't say that I was disappointed overall. There were times when I was, I think. But overall, man, like we talked about it in the beginning of the year, the season was about the young guys, and namely Zach Wilson. And I think even though the beat doesn't want to acknowledge it, Zach Wilson showed significant improvement. He kind of came through the gauntlet, if you will. I mean, he's had every stone thrown at him. He's had, from the offensive line not blocking 1.7 seconds to number 1 in drops in the NFL. Then guys getting hurt. Don't forget 3 of his picks were directly off of hitting wide receivers in their hands first. So there's a lot of that. And he never, we never saw any fracturing. We never saw any rifts. Think about if Jamal was here, or Tremaine Johnson, or Brandon Marshall, or Sheldon Richardson, any of those guys were here, and we would have had a big to do. But we saw our team stay together, man, and I think that's a big one for the coaches. So I think Zach is the most important thing. I was happy with that, how he kind of showed up at the end. Like Ryan said, the last game, and I said this last night, I was a big supporter of the 17th game. And I'm not so much anymore. I didn't like that game. I didn't need it. And I don't really, I don't want to count it. A whole bunch of stuff. I'm like that. I just completely scratched it from my memory banks. I don't care about that game. And Tariq Black and all the other guys running around. But look, I think what the best thing for me is that we saw year one across the board, and that comes from with the coaches, with the rookie class. We saw the systems, like we talked about with LaFleur. We came out in a 22 personnel and we ended as an 11 personnel. That's quite a lot of shifting and moving. We saw the defense change from a 4-3 to a 4-2-5 to a base nickel, all that kind of stuff because of personnel. And the thing that a lot of us aren't really talking about is that we also saw the first year of this new medical staff. I'm a big supporter of the idea behind the medical staff. I like what they did. I like that Joe Douglas gutted the whole joint and recreated the whole thing, but they're not even here yet for a year, either. So I think that's one of the things that at least I can hang my hat on and go, okay, well, look, this is their first real off season in place. And maybe they can get these guys in their player-specific protocols that they're talking about and all that jazz. And maybe we'll see the injuries go down. Because just like we saw with Saleh and LaFleur and everybody else, they had their ups and downs coming through. I'm sure the medical department is learning on the fly as well. So we're going to have to give that some time, because without the injuries, I'd feel a lot better. But, I think, look, dude, I've been asking for a complete teardown for over a decade. And or about a decade, let's say, and it hasn't happened. So I'm just psyched that it happened. We're here, and we're past year one, and now we can talk about fixing it and where we're going to use all these nifty draft picks that Joe Douglas got us. And I'm still excited for the future.
Very well said. And I agree. That 17th game, I can't even like think of that as a real game because first of all, an entire team was out, and this made me realize this. Like, say hypothetically, the New York Jets were a good team, right, last year, and we're fighting for the playoffs. How the hell could we even compete in the playoffs with all these injuries? You know what I mean? Like, if by the end of the season, everybody's on injured reserve, Zach Wilson's throwing to wide receiver 5 and 6, and everyone's hurt, like, how are we ever going to survive, even if we're a competitive team, if we can't stay healthy? Like, that's what drives me crazy. You look around the league, all these other teams, like we're versing the Buffalo Bills, they had some injuries, but they were basically fully healthy. Obviously, they lost their top cornerback for the season, but it drives me crazy, man, these injuries. And hopefully the health staff can get in there and really fix this because it's been a really big problem for the past couple of years and needs to be fixed big time. Before we hear from Matt, I want to get to this nice donation from King Jamie. He's a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and he says, I sure had fun watching Zach Wilson progress this year. Love to see that. I love the donation. I love the support from King Jamie. Good luck to your Chiefs this weekend. They got a big game Sunday night, so appreciate the support, Jamie, as always. So, Matt, want to give your overall thoughts about the season in a nutshell? Did it exceed your expectations? How do you feel about the season after it's all wrapped up?
I feel like it's kind of hard to evaluate because I mean everyone kind of hit on it, but the amount of injuries they had, like everyone's gonna point to the defense was 32nd league and it was bad, which is true. But at the same time, before the season even started, you lost 2 edge rushers you brought in free agency. LaMarcus Joyner didn't play a regular season snap. Not Bryce Hall. Marcus May played like 5 games for you. Your whole defense looked completely different. So on the negative side, for me, it's the injuries and not really getting a full evaluation on this team. But on the positive side, I really liked how the young guys competed. And like, sure, they were overmatched, I think, a lot throughout the year. But guys like Brandon Eccles, a 6th round pick who, was a late day 3 guy, started every game when he was healthy. And was he perfect? No, but he exceeded all of our expectations and he battled and he played hard. Bryce Hall, young corner coming up and playing well and improving. Michael Carter on both Michael Carters, the slot corner, running back. I liked how both those guys improved as the season went on. And the progression of the quarterback, which I think is most important. Like, obviously, going into next year, it has to be making life as easy for Zach as possible so that you get a realistic evaluation on what he is and what he can be. But I think we have to be satisfied with what we saw after the injury. I mean, going 5 games in a row without throwing an interception is unheard of for Jets quarterbacks. So just the little things, I want to take away those positives and look at this season with the context that it's hard to fully evaluate it because of all the, circumstances, whether it be injuries, guys out with COVID. It's just, it's hard. So overall, I'm trying to look more on the positive side than the negative side.
Yeah, and all you guys alluded to the same thing, which is true, is the injuries. And there's no sugarcoating. The injuries had a big reason why we only had 4 wins on the season. Matt just brought up we lost our starting edge rushers, or 2 starting edge rushers in training camp that we brought in free agency. Like, the defense just got ridiculed with injuries, and it was really unfortunate. But I feel like it was also a good opportunity for other players to get moved up, get a chance to see what they're worth. And it gives the coaching staff an experience to have to deal with, adversity and have to deal with plugging guys in because, you got to give some position groups credit that dealt with injuries very well. If we discredit the week 17 performance or week 18 performance, actually, like NYJ Matt said, the offensive line played so good all season long. They progressed. They're not perfect. I still want there to be a lot of moves made this offseason, but that other game, I forget who was against. Was it the Eagles or the Jaguars? I think it was against the Jaguars when ADT and LDT were out. We had everybody that's filled in kind of did their role, and that's a credit to the offensive line coach. And I feel like the depth was there, but that's just a little example that I have throughout the entire roster where this coaching staff had to deal with so much with people going down, plugging new young guys in. They have to learn the system. They have to coach them properly. So hopefully next year we don't have to deal with that many injuries, but it also is a good thing that the coaching staff had to deal with adversity and understand what needs to happen with all the COVID protocols and all these injuries. So yeah, a lot of things for this coaching staff to really learn from going into year number 2. So the next thing I want to get into, guys, and we probably will have some similar answers, and in the chat, you guys can answer this as well. What was your favorite Jets moment from the 2021-2022 season? Obviously, there were so many amazing moments, so it's going to be so hard to pick. But listen, I want to hear everybody's thoughts about this, whether it's a moment on the field. You can even bring up a favorite Jets Twitter moment. Anything around about this Jets season, whether even if it wasn't a play, maybe someone said something in the press conference or anything. Just get creative with your response. Everybody in the chat, make sure you answer this as well. So Jack, starting off with you, what was your favorite Jets moment from the season?
It's kind of bittersweet because looking back on it now, it really doesn't matter much, but it has to be, without a doubt, being at MetLife Stadium for Mike White's historic victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. That was one of the best days of my life, man. I mean, being straight up with you guys, I've been to so many Jets games at this point, and I've never experienced a win at MetLife Stadium. The only win I ever saw in person was in Buffalo for an away game. So this is my first win at the home stadium. I was hugging random strangers. It was just a phenomenal experience. And that was certainly my top moment of this season. But like I said, doesn't really mean shit now because, Mike White is our backup. We're moving forward with Zach Wilson. It means nothing. But that was certainly one of the most fun and epic days that I've ever had.
Yeah, I mean, I was right there with you, Jack. They're at that game, the Mike White. That was unbelievable. Just being at a game for that was just like beating the Cincinnati Bengals with the backup quarterback, because all of our friends were chanting Mike White's name going into the stadium as like a joke. Like, all right, we're going to see Mike White, just as a joke. And then he goes out there and does what he does. And then we're like walking out of the stadium like, Mike White. Like, what? Like, that was like the craziest Jets experience I've ever had, to be honest, in person, because it was just like, it was like a joke going into it, but the joke turned into reality. Like, it was just such an amazing experience. I'm happy that happened. Jersey's in the Hall of Fame. We'll remember that for the rest of our lives. So, Ali, what was your favorite moment from the Jets season?
I mean, there was a couple actually, but the one that like made me like laugh hysterically when I was watching it was the Wilson to Connor McDermott touchdown against the Jaguars.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was a touchdown that I was just laughing. I was just like, what just happened? Because I don't know. I don't think we've ever had a lineman catch a touchdown. So, I mean, seeing that happen was just like, wow, they thought of, I mean, that's the creativity of LaFleur there to give it to your lineman. And when he caught that pass, I mean, I was going nuts, but also laughing my ass off just watching it happen. So, yeah, that was probably my highlight for this year.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think that's a good one. And that was a huge play. Remember, that was 4th and goal.
Yeah.
So if they didn't get that, it was at the 1-yard line. Zach scrambles, he shows off his athleticism and trusts the big man. Connor McDermott going up there big time and getting it.
Receiving threat, man. Dual threat.
Yeah, can't block, but maybe he can transition to tight end, because left tackle Connor McDermott, no good. So NYJ Matt, what was your favorite moment of the Jets season, whether it's on Twitter? Actually, you're going to have to give us your favorite moment on Twitter and your favorite Jets season moment.
Okay, so if you're putting me in the moment of the games, I think the Randy Bullock missed field goal in overtime is the best moment at the time, because Zach goes for 297, 2 touchdowns. And if we lost that game after really, playing great, or if we tie that game in overtime, we go over to London to play the Falcons with a sour taste in our mouth. But he misses that kick, and in that moment, getting that win is huge. On Twitter, it has to be the fact that we bullied the NFL in the Rookie of the Week votings. It was unbelievable. Every time they put us on the graphic, it was over. And I love because, Zach had the game against Houston where he didn't play great and was kind of thrown on the graphic, and he won in a landslide. So next year, they're going to definitely have to find a way to change up the voting a little bit. And even, after Zach's win against Jacksonville, a lot of rookies had good performances, but he could have been on there. And I think they left him off knowing that he probably would have won. So from a Twitter standpoint, got to be the best moment for me.
Dude, that's so true. Like, we had Zach Wilson, 3-time Rookie of the Week, Elijah Moore, Rookie of the Week, Brennan Eccles, Rookie of the Week. The only one we missed out was Michael Carter. He was nominated, but he didn't get to win it that week. I guess Jets Twitter was slacking that one week. But we really just went crazy.
I don't think we knew the power that we had when Carter was on there. We kind of were like, oh, let's vote for Carter. And then once Wilson was on there, we went full steam ahead, and then we didn't look back. So I look back at that one as a miss that we didn't get Carter that belt.
I know. But next year, we'll do the same thing all over again with the beautiful 2022 draft class, and we're going to get even more. So we had, 5 total Rookie of the Weeks, including 3 with Zach and 1 for Eccles and more. Wow. Let's do it. Sign me up. So, Ryan, what was your favorite Jets moment from this past season?
All right, so I'm going to do 2. I'm going to do off the field, the week 2 game with the Patriots, the tailgate of that day was a blast. Seeing all you guys and like hanging out with the fans the first time back in the stadium, like it felt like it was rocking. I mean, it was also the worst part of my season too, because it was like very short-lived.
Yeah.
But that was a blast. But on the field, when Zach did the point in the Titans game and he let it rip, it was just like such a thing of beauty. I'm like standing up out of my chair. I'm like, oh my God, he's got it. And I'm just like, I don't know. That's probably my favorite part. Like feeling like I think we got it right. That's a good feeling. That's what it feels like.
I agree. That the tailgate, that we met each other there. Jack and I sat together. First time we saw Ali there. First time meeting Greenbean. Still haven't met Matt yet. Matt O'Leary. And I met NYJ Matt at training camp as well. And that's probably, I'll get to my favorite soon. But yeah, man, that tailgate, I'll never forget how insane the crowd was on opening day. Like the kickoff, Fireman Ed, the JETS Jets chants. I'm like, this is unreal. And obviously a big factor was, fans back in the stadium for the first time after COVID. And then, we all know what happened for the rest of the game. It just sucked the life out of the entire fan base. And then we got, Jets fans booing already. Oh, same old Jets. Oh, God, here we go again. But just really went from the most positive, energetic experience to just most soulless thing ever. But hey, that's the life of being a Jets fan. But Ryan, I have to agree. That was an unbelievable moment. The tailgate on opening day for sure. So Greenbean, what was your favorite Jets moment of the season, whether it's via your channel, whether it's on social media, whether it's on the field, off the field, whatever you want to bring up, feel free to do so.
Yeah, well, that opening day was, that was killer, man. Because like you said, we all got to meet each other. It was such a great time, man. I pulled into the parking lot and you and Jack were standing in front of my car. It was like, it's going to be a good day, man.
Weird,
I got to sit with O'Leary the whole game, and we sat in almost silence because of what they were putting on the field. It was like, boo! But the experience beforehand was amazing. But I think I'll give you one offense, one defense. My favorite moment of the year when I thought it was all going to kind of become real was when Zach sent Corey Davis to the end zone, right? Like when he did the point. And I said, holy shit. Like, oh my God, like this, look at this. Look what we have here. It's just coming together. And, it didn't necessarily stick, but it was a good one. The second one on defense, I liked the 4th down stand against the Bengals, I think it was, where Quinnen Williams got the 4th down sack. That was when teams started to do the go on 4th against us, and that kind of happened. That stuck around the whole year. But I like that. I love when teams try to disrespect us and we show them up. That's big for me. So those moments, even though they weren't necessarily huge in the long run, maybe those are the types of moments I think we can build on. And it's that's like F you, eat that. And I like that stuff.
I love that. I love that you brought that defensive favorite moment and an offensive favorite moment, a little flair to the question. Matt O'Leary, what was your favorite Jets moment of the season, whether it's a YouTube video you created, whether it's on Jets Twitter, whether it's in-season, off-season, whatever you want to bring up, feel free.
Yeah, I think when me and Greenbean were sitting together, we almost threw somebody off the upper deck. We were
that guy.
Yeah, it was a little bit much. But while I loved getting to meet you guys and stuff like that, to me, my favorite experience was the Tennessee game, which you guys brought up already. But my experience with that game was a little bit different because I was actually in Texas that week and I met Jake Asman the day before the game on Saturday. He showed me around his radio station, which was sick. But then I watched with the Houston Jets fan club, and they are awesome, man. I don't know if you guys are ever down there, you got to catch a game with them. They go hard. They were giving me shots every time they scored. Like I was like blacked out by the time the Corey Davis play happened. The best time in the world, man. It was so much fun.
That's so funny. Just down in Houston, blacked out with all Houston Jets fans. That's so
It's great.
sick. So all those Jets fans like originally from New York, or like they just became Jets fans? Like, do you know how most of them became fans?
I forget what her name was. There's a woman who runs it, and she's originally from Jersey who went down there. Some of them are like displaced Jet fans, like who've up in the Northeast. Some are just for whatever reason fans from that area. So, but it was cool.
That is so sick that Jets fans, there's Jets fans like worldwide, there's Jets fans across the country, and you're thinking to yourself, why? We haven't been good in so long, but I'm not complaining because we're the New York Jets. We got the greatest fan base in the world, especially on Jets Twitter, man. There's no fan base better on Twitter than us. And I can say that with confidence. I'll pump my chest while I say that as well. So I want to give my thoughts on my favorite Jets moment off the field. Me personally, I think it had to be Jets training camp because I think that was, for me, the first time meeting a lot of subscribers in person. It was the first time being around people after COVID. I went twice. I went for the first time. I met up with Ali, and I went with my father, and then I went with Jack the next day, and I met NYJ Matt and NYJ Mike. I met the entire Jets beat. I dapped up DJ. I saw Rich Tomini. I was like, what up, Rich? And then I was seeing Connor Hughes, just seeing the beat, just saying what's up to them. And then obviously seeing like our team out there, like at One Jets Drive, and seeing them practice, and seeing Zach Wilson throw an 80-yard bomb to Elijah Moore. I was like convinced that he's going to be immediately elite after seeing him just light up our Jets training camp secondary. But that was just an amazing experience because like all Jets fans there together, just the hype was real. The weather was crazy. I was live at training camp. It was just a really awesome experience, and I cannot wait to be back at training camp this year because that was my first time at training camp in Jersey. The last time I was there was back at Hofstra when they used to practice over there because I actually live 10 minutes from Hofstra by me on Long Island. So looking forward to that. But in season, a lot of you guys brought it up. It has to be the point, the Zach Wilson point touchdown. Like if you watch my reaction to that, it's everywhere. I like lose myself to the point where I think we are back to being like the Jets are back. Like my reaction was like, let's effing go. We're back. We're back. And I'm rewatching like, what do I mean we're back? Like in that moment, I'm like, oh my God, like Zach Wilson's Patrick Mahomes and we're about to take over the league. Like in that moment, that's what was running through my mind because I've never seen a Jets quarterback have the swagger and the confidence in order to do a play that he just did by literally playing backyard football. Like that's what I used to do as a kid growing up. Hey, Jack, go deep, and just chucking it. Like he literally just did what a childhood dreams of doing in the NFL as a rookie. And in that moment, it was just emphatic. And obviously the victory put the sugar on top. And hey, the Tennessee Titans are the first seed in the AFC. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And I don't want to hear the excuse, oh, they didn't have A.J. Brown or Julio Jones. They didn't have Derrick Henry for the entire rest of the season. They were still winning. We had the verse Derrick Henry, and Julio Jones and A.J. Brown was banged up the entire season, and they were winning pretty much the entire year. So I don't want to hear that crap from other fan bases across the league. But, man, so many amazing Jets moments off the field, on the field, social media, Jets Twitter. It was just such a great season, to be honest. Looking back on it, even though, the wins weren't there, but, like, going live for the games, it really is awesome interacting with the chat, giving my live play-by-play reaction, interacting. There's so much smack talking in the chats during the games. Like, it's crazy. Like, if you go back and watch the Jets-Bills, my Jets-Bills reaction, you look at the chat, it's just nothing but talking crap and talking smack. It's awesome. It's awesome. So now I want to ask you guys another question, and this could be brief. It can be just the players, or you can give you a reason to why. And everybody in the chat, please feel free to answer this question as well. Who was your favorite player on offense and defense this season? So I want to hear who the players are and give me a brief summary of why they were your favorite players. So, Jack, starting off with you, who is your favorite players on offense and defense? Your mic's muted, Jack. There you go.
Sorry, boys. But real quick, I have a quick moment that I just need to get out there because NYJ Matt kind of reminded me of it when he brought up something on Twitter. I hope you guys all remember when we literally bullied Woody Johnson into changing the uniforms for I forget which game it was,
The Colts
but
game.
it was like
Colts
green,
game.
Colts game. It was like, yeah, green jerseys, white pants, or whatever. The opposite. I think it was white jerseys, green pants, or whatever. And everybody was like, no. We constantly take fat L's in this uniform combo. Need to change it. And what happens a day or two later? Going white on white for this week or whatever it was. It was I just thought that was legendary, man. We bullied the owner of the franchise into changing the uniform combo for that game. Legendary. But getting to the topic at hand, I just had to say that. Favorite player on offense, I'm going AVT, man. I got a soft spot for offensive linemen. AVT never really missed a beat since he, got to the next level, since he got to the NFL. He was, our best lineman this year by far on a consistent basis. Well, George Fant, we got to give some love to George Fant, man. George Fant was killing it this year. But AVT, for being a rookie, I obviously know we all expected big things from him, but for him to deliver on such a high level and on a consistent basis, again, for a rookie, I think is extremely impressive. So I'm going with AVT, although there's others you can mention for sure, but I'm sure you guys will do that. Defense is a little bit tougher, obviously, because here we are with the 32nd ranked defense. But you know what? I'm going to go with Brandon Eccles, man. Brandon Eccles had a very, very, very impressive rookie season. He had some, not too hot things happen as well. But, I go back to thinking about that Bengals game where he, held Jamar Chase to 3 receptions and 36 yards. Yes, he got in the end zone, but, that was the week after Jamar Chase had like 170 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns or some shit like that. So I think Brandon Eccles, again, for a rookie, 2 rookies that I'm choosing, because they're really the bright spots of this season, man. They were extremely impressive. And I can't wait to see what these 2 guys, as well as the rest of their draft class, continues to do. But AVT and Brandon Eccles got a lot of love from me, man. They really played their hearts out this year.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think Brandon Eccles was a great pickup, especially in the 6th round. And hopefully Joe Douglas can do that again this year in terms of finding some players that can play at that level late in the draft. So, Ali, who's your favorite players on offense and defense from this past year?
For the offensive side of the ball, I would probably say Michael Carter. He's just so much fun to watch, and I think if he stayed healthy and was on the field, he probably could have had a 1,000-yard season. I believe he had like 600 yards or something like that at the end of the season, and I think if he was healthy, I think he could have reached 1,000. He's just fun to watch. He's very hard to tackle. Even after the first hit, he still gets yards after the hit. And he's just a tough guy. Not seeing him finish that one game was kind of hard to see because I kind of don't want to. If he played that game after that long run that he had, I believe it was like 40 yards against Tampa. He was going for a 100-yard game, like 150-yard maybe game. Like that's how that offense that he was just running the ball like he owned the field. So Michael Carter is a guy I feel like the Jets hit on in this draft class, and I think he'll be the running back for a while for the team. And then on defense, probably C.J. Mosley. With C.J. Mosley, there's a lot of criticism against him that we overpaid him. He took the year off last year. How is he going to look this year? Is he going to be the C.J. Mosley that we brought in with the big contract, or he's just going to suck? And I think this year he played hard, and he kind of kept that defense together-ish. If the Jets had more talent on that defense, I think he would have been showed a lot more and more respected. But with the CJ Mosley of how he played, the grit that he played with every snap was kind of awesome to watch. And that's why we paid that much for him because he is a talented player. And the way he took charge after his season, he's like, I will try to recruit free agents to come here. I don't talk that much. I'm not a loud player. I don't really do that stuff, but I'm going to do that as a team leader. And that's kind of what the Jets needed out of CJ Mosley. So I think he's living up to his contract now. And I think that's just a good sign for the Jets.
I'm very happy you brought up CJ Mosley because I feel like he's a very underappreciated piece to this team because we look at the defense, they were last in the league. But if you look at individually speaking, CJ Mosley was an absolute monster all season long, set a career high in most tackles in an entire season for himself, second leading tackler in Jets history, which is pretty ridiculous. So shout out to CJ Mosley. We gave him a big contract. Didn't even go on the field for the first 2 years. And year number 3, he finally stays healthy and provides a big-time impact. And he was also a huge leader on and off the field. So NYJ Matt, what's your 2 favorites from both sides of the ball from this past season, man.
Yeah, I agree with Jack. I'm going with AVT. Availability for him, playing all 16 games and missing one because of COVID. Didn't get hurt after he was banged up a little bit in training camp. Was great in run blocking, got better in pass blocking. He had a few games where he gave up 4 or 5 pressures, but the fact that we got a guy who can be that left guard for 5, 7, 8 years, great pickup. And I love the personality. He seems like a good dude, so I'm happy we have AVT. Obviously, I don't want to spoil any other picks, but there's other players you can go on offense. But for defense, I want to give it up for Bryce Hall because I know there was games where he got beat. But the fact that he missed his training camp his rookie year, didn't start playing until week 8 or 9, obviously in 2020, and this was his first offseason with the team being healthy, coming in as the number 1 corner for a very young group, it could have been a lot worse. And he stepped up and has proven that he is going to be a starter on this team. Not always going to be number 1, right? They can go out and draft a corner in the top 10. They can give big money to someone, but he's going to be a starting corner. And I just want to give him a ton of props because he always took, regardless who was on his side of the field, they didn't move him around a lot, but he did a hell of a job. A ton of games where he had 3 targets his way, 1 catch for 18 yards, right? So I think AVT and Hall would be the top 2 for me.
Yeah, man, can't go wrong with Bryce Hall. He had a phenomenal season in year number 2. And I think the most important part about both players that Matt just mentioned is they both stayed healthy all season long. And that's a big thing because we all know that this entire Jets team did not stay healthy, but those 2 individuals did. So they deserve the love for sure. Ryan, who's your 2 favorite players on both sides of the ball?
So Matt actually hit my 2 right on the head. So I'll pick another 2 for all the same reasons. So I agree with Ali. I love what we got out of Michael Carter on the offensive side of the ball. It just feels like he is a game breaker. The amount of broken tackles this guy gets or yards after contact is just incredible. And that is a testament to how well the offensive line has played as well. But this guy, I feel like we really hit on him. And then on the defensive side, I'm going to go Michael Carter for like all the same reasons. I love that we hit on this guy. Like scrappy slot corner. Like I was worried because I really liked, who was the corner we didn't bring back? What the hell was his last name?
Bless Austin.
Bless Austin.
No.
Desir?
No. Slot corner.
Oh,
Brian from Atlanta.
Brian Poole.
Poole. I loved Brian Poole. So I was like really disappointed we didn't bring him back. So Michael Carter filling in really well, like starting caliber slot corner or nickel corner, whatever. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Those would be my 2, I think.
The Michael Carters. I absolutely love that. Like, what are the odds? We get 2 Michael Carters in the draft, and they're both in the 4th and 5th round, and they're both studs.
Can we draft like 50 more of these guys?
Yeah,
more
like,
Michael Carters. We got a full team.
We got
like
a bunch of Elijahs. We got a bunch of Carters. Just keep going, Joe Douglas. If they got Carter or Elijah in their name, you know to bring him in. So Greenbean, who is your favorite player on offense and defense? I'm sorry, Greenbean, but doesn't seem like you're going to pick a tight end with this one.
I could. Well, you know what? I told myself I'm going to stay original no matter what these guys say. And every single person that went took the guys I was going to say. So I'm down to Denzel Mims and Lawrence Cager. No, I think let's say Zachy Poo. Let's say our boy Zach. Look, you guys know I wasn't on the big. I wasn't like a huge Zach guy, but I liked him, and since he's been here, I think there is a lot of deliberate stuff that shouldn't be going towards him that he's having to deal with. And I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know why, but I don't like it. And I think the kid has absolutely he's kept his head through it all. He's handled it the right way. I haven't seen one little issue that I've had with how he deals with things. Now, has he made mistakes? Tons of them. But I like that he seems to learn from his mistakes. It might take him a week or 2, but he seems to bounce back, and he never throws anybody under the bus, man. Like last week, he could have very easily said, hey, man, What do you want me to do? I had 7 completions because I don't have anybody out here. I got hit 20 times or whatever. I know they had drop passes. He could have said that, and he didn't. And he actually constructively gave reasons and specifics about where he went wrong. And I like that about him. It's different than the way Sam did it. Sam was a good guy, and he said, hey, I got to be better. And it was very kind of blankety. Zach Wilson goes into specifics, and I really think that the way that he's handling this and the fact that he wrapped up this season with more touchdowns than interceptions, 5 games in a row without a pick, all that sort of stuff. I think we're seeing something in him, and hopefully he's all of our favorite players soon. So I'm a fan, man, and I'm happy it's him as opposed to maybe some of the other options that we had coming into the draft this year. And on defense, I wanted so badly to say Bryce Hall and CJ and everybody else and Michael Carter. Let's see. Let me say.
You can repeat it.
Quincy Williams.
I'm so glad you said him.
Yeah. Well, look, the truth is I do think he's a good find. Now, is he the guy that I want them to bypass Devin Lloyd, Nakobe Dean because he's here? No.
No,
but having those depth guys that are here for a while, I think is important too. We tend to change our roster every 2 years. And I think keeping Quincy Williams around as maybe the 4th linebacker, maybe even 5th specific downs and all that, I think he can be very effective. If he plays 15, 20 plays a game and he plays like he does, he comes in like a brick shithouse, man. He comes in flying around. So full-time, not so much. Part-time, I think he can be an asset. So I'm really happy with that scrap heap find from Joe Douglas as well.
Awesome. So Matt O'Leary, let's hear your thoughts. And then we have another special guest waiting backstage to join in. And that is NYJ Mike. What's up, NYJ Mike? Welcome in.
What's up, boys?
What's good, man? This is the 2 co-hosts, NYJ Mike, NYJ Matt, for those of you guys that don't know. Before we get into Matt O'Leary's thoughts about the favorite players, why don't you introduce yourself, Mike, to everybody in the chat?
Yeah, I'm NYJ Mike. Matt and I have the Broadway Jets podcast. You can find us on Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. I had a couple of drinks before this. I'm feeling good. The boys are looking great. Some great opinions. We got Quincy Williams. We have CJ Mosley, Michael Carter, Elijah Moore. So many great Jets to love. It's a pleasure to see all of you. Matt O'Leary, I'm excited to hear your opinions. And Richie's the best. Nobody better than you guys.
Well, welcome in, man. I'm happy you got to join in. And we're gonna ask you the same question right after we hear from Matt. So Matt, who are your favorite player on offense and defense?
Oof. It's tough. You guys had a lot of good ones, so I might have to repeat a little bit here. But on offense, I'm gonna go Elijah Moore. It's because I feel like every time the ball was in his hands or anytime the ball was thrown to him, I felt myself sitting up in my seat like something amazing is going to happen here, like the Incredibles meme. I don't know. I think the Jets found a good one there. There was a stretch from like week 8 to week 13 where he was almost at 100-yard per game pace and had like 5 touchdowns. So I really am excited to see him in a full year next year. And it's been brought up a lot on defense, but it has to be Bryce Hall for me. I just love how he competes. I just think that the Jets found a good one there at corner. I think he's underrated by the rest of the NFL. I think Jet fans appreciate him, but I think he has a good shot to be cornerback 1 for this team going forward. And I look forward to both those guys because they're both young, growing and getting better with this team.
The Hall monitor. Love the Bryce Hall love, man. I absolutely love it. So, Mike, what's your favorite player on offense and defense from this past season?
I'm going to go with Sheldrick Redwine and Tariq Black.
There they are.
No, I'm very excited about the Jets. I'll go with some veterans. Someone that people overlook is Mr. Corey Davis, who apparently, Jets Twitter is kind of down on Corey Davis, and some of the sentiment is that he's a little bit of a disappointment with the money the Jets are paying him. But the guy is averaging, 55 yards a game, and he's on pace for about 1,000 yards in the 17-game season. I think people need to calm down a little bit with Corey Davis. He had 492 yards in 9 games, and Next year, he's going to be either the 1, the 2, or, I mean, if we're lucky, some kind of the 3. So people, back off Corey Davis and let him produce. It's similar to Eric Decker, his first year with the Jets in 2014. He had 960 yards, but about 200 of those yards came in Week 17 with Geno's perfect game against Miami. So I'm excited to see what Corey Davis does another year in the system. And then on defense is John Franklin Myers, who, after his contract early in the season, didn't produce much in terms of counting stats, but you saw some of the pressures, you saw some of the tackles for loss, you see the 6 sacks, you see the interception. I'm excited to see next year what the Jets defensive line could do with Carl Lawson back and with Bryce Huff playing a full season. If we see those interior defensive linemen produce at the level that we thought they were going to produce, we want to see Quinn, we want to see JFM. If they bring a guy back like Foley, can those guys produce at the level that we thought they were going to with those edge pressures, with those guys on the edge, eating up double teams, etc.
Yeah, man. So I'm happy you brought up Corey Davis because that's a very interesting topic. I'm not as down on Corey Davis as most Jets fans are. I feel like, him going down with the injury stinks for sure. And he did struggle with a lot of drops this year. But earlier in the season, he was productive. He started off with 2 touchdowns and on opening day, and he was Zach's favorite target. He was the go-to guy. He made big-time plays. And I feel like if he stayed healthy all year long, he would have been productive and put up a really interesting stat line. But he did have some drops. There were some span of games where you're like, all right, Corey Davis, like we're giving you $12 million. Let's see you step up. But I'm excited for him in year 2. I think he has a really good opportunity to go out there in year number 2 in this system and produce. So my favorite Jets player on offense and defense, on offense, I'm going to pick someone that none of you guys picked. Nobody said him. And he is a guy that was healthy all year long, besides the last week of the season. And he was productive every single game whenever his name was called, and he needs to be re-signed. And his name is Braxton Dan Berrios. This man was an absolute Swiss Army knife player. I've loved Braxton Berrios ever since we brought him in, even years prior. Whenever Braxton Berrios filled in for Jamison Crowder in years prior, he would fill in the slot and be so productive. This year, even week number 1, guys, I watched Zach Wilson's highlights last night on YouTube, and I realized after watching that highlight reel, Braxton Berrios didn't just start becoming a good player midway through the season. He's been productive the entire year. Like, there's big-time catches. You remember on opening day against the Panthers, that 4th and 8, that Zach Wilson just backpedaling and throwing off his back foot and firing a rifle to Braxton Berrios for the first down on 4th down on opening day. Like, there's a lot of plays that Braxton Berrios made, and he was so reliable. He's a Swiss Army knife. Obviously, the special teams ability is through the roof. He had that elusive touchdown run. And he also was just an excellent player on and off the field. He's a valedictorian. He's a player that Joe Douglas struck gold in. If you guys know the story of Braxton Berrios and how the Jets even got him, Bill Belichick drafted him in the 5th round, and Bill Belichick had to cut him in his rookie season before he did anything on the Patriots because he had a hamstring injury during the cuts. And Bill Belichick was hoping that he would clear waivers and sign him to the practice squad, and he was so high on him. And at the time, when the Jets claimed him, Adam Gase was the coach, and Belichick called him and said, hey, you got to go one. You got to go one of Braxton Berrios. And that's exactly right. And let's re-sign that man because that is an essential piece to this team because he can do so much. So Braxton Berrios deserves love, and I feel like he's only going to get better and better as the season goes on. And the next player on defense – now, I'm trying to think of someone nobody else said, but it's so hard. So we got Bryce Hall love, even Brennan Eccles love. Shout out to Jack. I love that pick. CJ Mosley love. Baby. I was going to say CJ, actually, before Ali said it. JFM got some love. So you know what? For me, it's going to have to be Bryce Hall. Like, I'm sorry to be the majority, but Bryce Hall was a player that I was looking forward to in year number 2 so much just to see if he can stay healthy and live up to the potential. Because if you guys remember, when we drafted him, we're like, oh my gosh, we just got a round 1, round 2 talent in round number 5. Like, this man, if he can get healthy, could be legit. And we're finally seeing that to fruition. And Bryce Hall is not a ball hawk. He's not going to, bring the ball and, get a lot of interceptions, unfortunately. But that's okay because he was locking people down all season long, learning from his mistakes. And he's so young. And I think he was second in the NFL by all cornerbacks on most forced incompletions. So his potential is through the roof. He's a starting cornerback for this team for the future, and he deserves a ton of credit. Quinnen Williams deserves some love, in my opinion, just because, he's if you look statistically, he's a top defensive tackle in the league. In terms of stats. Now, I love what he said in the press conference, saying that he holds himself at a standard where he's not meeting. He wants to be dominant. He wants to take over games like Aaron Donald, and he's not doing that. And that's obviously where we want Quinnen Williams to be. I would say this year was a little disappointing just in terms of him getting to that level, but it wasn't like he was not productive, not doing his job. It just wasn't on a consistent basis. There were some games where he was absolutely disruptive. So my answer, Braxton Berrios on offense, and Bryce Hall on defense. But CJ Mosley deserves love. Michael Carter II deserves love. Brennan Eccles, John Franklin Myers. There's a lot of players that deserve some love because, hey, we got to love our players. Why not? Why not? So the next thing I want to talk about, guys, thoughts of the 2021 draft class. I think we can all agree that this was the biggest positive of the entire season because we're coming off the 2020 draft class, and I think we can all agree that was a big-time disappointment. Outside of Bryce Hall. We're waiting to see if Mekhi Becton can get going because, him missing the entire season, it's hard to tell if he can be able to play after that knee injury. I think quickly my stance on Mekhi Becton, don't write him off until we see him on the field and not play well because I think people forget that he's a dominant force, but the problem is his availability. And when we drafted him, I think everybody understood he was boom or bust because of the durability issues. So hopefully he can get healthy this offseason and be our starting tackle next year. But, I want to hear your guys' thoughts of the 2021 draft class. We're actually going to do a little switcheroo here. So we're going to start off with Matt O'Leary and go back the other way. So, Matt, you want to give a couple of your favorite players in the draft class and how Joe Douglas handled this past year's draft class and what you expect from them in year number 2 and beyond?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think there's a lot of positives you could take away just by looking at how many key contributors there were. Wilson started every game he was healthy. Elijah Vera Tucker came in and was good right away. And you go, right down the line. But for me, it's really the most important is the development of Zach Wilson. That's the biggest thing going forward into next year. I think you have to put him in a position to succeed. And throughout the season, it was ups and downs like most rookie quarterbacks have. And I think that at the end of the year, we kind of saw what he could be, and maybe with a little bit more flash from early on mixed in as he went into kind of, I'm not going to turn the ball over kind of version of a quarterback, which is fine. But then later, I really liked, we mentioned him earlier, finding guys like Eccles and getting him to contribute right away, I think was really important. And that to me is just some of the main ones that stick out. Michael Carter II. I didn't really have high hopes for either of those two guys, but the fact that they were able to come in and hold their own and compete, I think is impressive. And going into next year, I expect them all to take a step forward in their direction. And I'm hoping it's going to be a draft class we look back on and talk about like the 2006 draft class and how important that one was.
Yeah.
Great takes. Greenbean, how about you? What's your thoughts about the draft class and how they performed their rookie season and what you can expect from them next season and beyond?
I think it's excellent, man. I mean, when's the last time that we had a batch of late round picks do anything? I mean, we had Foley Fadukasi. He was, I think, a 6th round pick. He did okay. But that's one out of our last GM's 5 years of drafting. So I think this is a really good draft class. And look, man, don't forget late round picks. Most of the time they need a year, 2 year, 3 years to start kicking in. And guys like Jamie Sherwood, sadly, with his Achilles, and Hamza Nasruddin, like I'm high on those guys. Pinnock, not so much. I mean, I like the safety experiment and all that. But I think our top 4 picks are slam dunks. Again, it's all about health with these guys. Imagine Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, if these guys stayed healthy the whole year, then we could really talk about it. I think, like we were talking about a little bit earlier, it's tough because we have to say things like they were on pace for, and if they made it 17 games, like all that sort of stuff. And we start kind of prorating numbers and all that jazz. But I think that they really are a talented class, and I think it's a good first class with that this coaching staff actually wanted. Clearly there's a batch of guys in the 2020 draft class this coaching staff just has no interest in one for one reason or another. So if we're not going to play them, then move on. But it seems like this class, I think that it's an exciting young core. And think about this, man. Like, so we don't have fifth and sixth round picks sitting on the bench. These guys are battle hardened. Like, they went through an entire season of on-field play and an adversity-ridden season. They didn't come in and fall right into the laps of the Super Bowl champions or something like that. Like, these guys came through and worked from the ground up through the dregs. They felt what it was like to be booed in your own house and have reporters rip you apart and all that sort of stuff. And they made it. Guys like Michael Carter, the running back. I mean, could we have gotten a more positive guy? I mean, the guy's he's so attractive of a person, and I think that's what they were going for. These higher caliber guys, like I was talking about earlier. Like, we didn't see any fractures in the house, and I think that's really a testament to how well they chose their men to be in the locker room. It's not only the coaching, it's the makeup of the players. So even though there's a lot of talent on the field as well, I think that we have some really good core leaders now, which is exciting. AVT, Elijah Moore, Zach, and the rest. I think it's a good way to start.
Great way to start, man. Great way to start.
Great.
Ryan, what's your thoughts about this draft class?
Yeah, I love it. Home run. Like, across the board, I think, obviously a lot hinges on Zach, but I think towards the end of the season, I feel like we got it right. Like, the athletic side is there. I don't have any doubt that Douglas is good at evaluating talent. It's whether that talent can live up to its expectations. Like, I think Mims is incredibly talented. I think Becton is incredibly talented. I think those guys not performing well is disappointing, or at least not being available. But this draft class was totally different. Starting off with Zach, there's high energy, incredibly high ceiling with him. AVT, rock solid. He didn't miss it. I think he missed 2 snaps before going out with COVID. He got poked in the eye. But the dude played every snap. So being incredibly durable and versatile, because, he played left tackle at USC. So the ability to, in a pinch, if we had to kick him out, I think is nice. I think that's kind of where we went with Elijah Moore. He could do a lot. Michael Carter, I love, receiving out of the backfield or just straight up running over guys. Just on the offensive side of the ball itself, we totally revamped in one off season. There's still a little bit more work to do. We got to get a tight end. We got to get, another offensive line piece probably, and a wide receiver. But this feels like the most complete offense that I've seen in a while. And then going towards the defensive side of the ball, going with some younger, high upside guys in the later part of the draft and hitting on some of them, like Eccles, like Carter, is just so huge. And then like Greenbean said, these guys are battle hardened. They've been through a full season. They got to see, the good, the bad, and the ugly. They started out way better than we thought they would. And then, maybe a little worse towards the end. But I just have a lot of faith in what Joe Douglas is doing draft-wise. So I'm excited to see, especially with the inside knowledge of the Senior Bowl this year, combined with the amount of draft picks we have. This draft is setting up to be something really special if everything kind of falls into place. So lots of hope.
You're getting me excited, Ryan. You're getting me excited. Mike, your thoughts of the 2021 draft class. Hype it up for us.
Yeah, come on, guys. Look, you want to be a little bit upset about the 2020 draft class? Don't be, because we got Mekhi Becton, we got Bryce Hall, we still have our punter, even though Braden Mann was kind of shaking some punts early in the season. But at the end of the season, he's punting the ball 55 yards, and we're feeling good, even though Denzel Mims is an asshole. And you look at 2021, things are looking good again. So you have your quarterback, you have a nice receiver, you have a terrific running back, you have a guard who PFF is listing as the #1 left guard in football as a rookie. You're feeling really good. And then you look forward to free agency and the draft this year, and you say, hey, look, we have 4 top 50 picks, and we have $65 to $70 million in cap space. And you go, oh, my God, even if the Jets have 8 holes on the roster, you could fill those holes in a second with all those assets. So the Jets are in a really good spot. I'm very excited to see what they do to supplement this last year's draft, where you have your quarterback, running back, wide receiver, left guard, of the future in the 2021 draft. And then you're going to see, hey, look, if we want to use that $70 million to sign Brandon Shreve and Allen Robinson, maybe those first 4 picks in the top 50 will be on defense. If you want to go Jameson Williams, Evan Neal, maybe you'll see the $70 million being spent on defense. So the Jets have a lot of good options going forwards. They're in a very good spot. People say the Jets are in a good spot. That's the reason why. Go tell your friends. Your friends are Giants fans. They can go fuck themselves. You're going to destroy the argument. And we're feeling very, very good. So we're in a good spot going forwards.
We are in a good spot. We are in a good spot. It is unfortunate that Joe Judge got fired. It's very unfortunate to hear that news. I'm just kidding.
I wish he was still the coach because they probably go 6-10 next year. It'd be great.
So NYJ Matt, how can you top what your buddy Mike had to say there?
I think I'll take you back to 2018. So they drafted a quarterback in 2018, and then the next 11 picks over the next 2 drafts, they drafted 4 offensive players to build around their young quarterback. Chris Herndon, Trenton Cannon, Chuma Adoga, Trevon Wesco. So those are the 4 guys in 2 drafts they put around their quarterback. The 3 picks taken after Zach Wilson is a stud left guard, a very, very good running back, and a very, very good receiver. So the fact that the 2021 class knew that they needed to build around their young quarterback, that was the biggest thing. And I think Greenbean said it before, Sherwood and Nasruddin, 2 guys that were top 10 in their positions coming out of high school, good college guys. They fell to a day 3 pick. One of them becoming a spot starter for this team would make this draft class even more of a home run. So I'm happy that Sherwood's going to come back next year. Hopefully Nasruddin can find himself in the rotation. And then you guys covered the rest of them. So I think it was a heck of a draft.
Yeah, man. Especially like we're all alluding to, like the 2020 draft class we know wasn't all perfect. But for Douglas to knock 21 draft class like that, it kind of makes you say, all right, first draft class was different. You had, Adam Gase was your guy, and it's whatever. So NYJ Matt, I know you got to dip now. It was a pleasure of you tuning in. Anything you wanted to say before I let you go, brother?
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. If you guys want, Broadway Jets YouTube, we're out on Twitter having a good time. So thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Peace out, buddy. Thanks for joining in.
Bye, Matt.
See you, man.
So, Ali, your thoughts about the draft class last year and what you can expect from them moving forward?
I feel like if you hit on at least like 4 to 5 draft picks, that means this is a good draft class. Like, I can name 4 or 5 right now off the spot. Zach Wilson, hopefully. Michael Carter, Elijah Moore, the other Michael Carter, and Eccles. I mean, all these guys can, these guys can be on this team for a long, long time. I don't think Eccles might be the starting cornerback, but he's a good depth player. If someone goes down and he goes in, he can excel. So I think overall, Joe Douglas knows about what to do and how to manage this team. And it's kind of refreshing hearing that we know that we trust a guy that knows how to work the draft, that knows how to spot talent. And this year they're going to get a head start at the Senior Bowl, which is a huge thing for this team, especially for a team that's trying to go to the next level of winning football games. You need to get ahead of the schedule, and they finally get a chance to start this draft process early and try to improve their team. Because last time the Jets were at the Senior Bowl, they got Maury Lyons and Mark Gastineau, and that's history, the sack exchange. So, they're going to find guys in this draft class, and I really am excited of what Joe Douglas is going to do, because I think he's going to move around the draft again this year. Maybe with the 10th pick he moves down, but he's going to move around a lot. And, I'm excited to see what their vision is for this offseason. That's why I'm so excited to see how they approach it.
I couldn't agree more, Lee. The Senior Bowl is going to be a blast, and you're going to be there representing loyal NY Jet fans. That's going to be awesome. Congratulations again. Represent us big time. We got a donation. Sell that great QB 2022 class propaganda. I'm down.
I'm doing it.
We can trade back, or a quarterback gets picked before us. So, Thibodeau or someone can drop to us at 4. Let's do it. Let's sell that propaganda.
You guys didn't see the Kenny Pickett story?
No.
Oh, it's a great story. NFL Draft Pro Scout tweeted me the story. He said, an incredible experience he had today. I was in the store with my good friend Matt O'Leary, and Pitt quarterback Kenny Pickett took care of an older lady's bill over $200. Such a gentleman and great show of character. So if that doesn't scream trade up for pick 4 and give up the
That's
haul, I don't know
awesome.
what does. Yeah.
Trade. Call Joe Douglas now. We want that 4th pick. We want the capital. I love that. The propaganda is going to be real leading up to the draft.
I love it.
Jack, anything you want to add on to your thoughts of the 2021 draft class? Anything else?
Yeah, man. NYJ Matt took the words right out of my mouth, man. I think he hit the nail right on the head. I was going to take you guys back to when we drafted Sam Darnold, and we did absolutely nothing to support our young quarterback. Fast forward 3 years later, and we have a general manager that we trust. And obviously, not every pick is going to be a success. But what do we do after we take yet another rookie quarterback? We surround him with talent on the offensive side of the ball. And then we go all defense after that. So I think that, this was a great draft from Joe Douglas. Like I said, you're not going to hit on every pick, although most of the picks from this draft class look like they're going to be, very solid players for us. But just the fact that we have a competent GM that we have confidence in, he clearly has a vision for how he wants to build this team. Everybody get your asses ready for us to draft yet another offensive lineman in the first round this year, because I can almost guarantee that, especially with 2 picks, that one of them will be an offensive lineman for sure. That's the way Joe Douglas likes to build this team. We've seen a lot of success out of Mekhi Becton. Obviously, this year was a total flop. AVT absolutely killed it in his rookie year, so I would definitely expect some more offensive line magic from Joey D in this offseason. But just to know that we have the general manager that we have confidence in, who knows what he's doing, who has a long-term vision for this team, I love it, man. I love it.
I agree, Jack. And Fernando, appreciate the donation. I'm going to get to this right after I give my thoughts on the draft class, and then we're going to dive deep into this question from Fernando. Appreciate the donation, my man. So my thoughts about the draft class, the one thing that impressed me the most is I think we forget that Joe Douglas sacrificed capital in this draft class. He gave up 2 third-round picks to get AVT, and we still hit home runs late in the draft. That's huge. Like, if it was the other way around, we gave up a lot of capital to move up to get AVT, and then we hit home runs with hopefully Zach, obviously. AVT we hit on. Elijah Moore we hit on. But then the rest of the draft class were just like, nah. Then we're like, damn, maybe that trade wasn't worth it because, we needed those 2 third-round picks. No one even gives a crap about those 2 third-round picks that we gave up because we got Michael Carter, another Michael Carter, Brandon Eccles. All these guys in the back end of the draft in the 4th rounds or later is so impressive that Joe Douglas deserves so much credit, and especially his entire staff. Like, it's not all Joe Douglas. Phil Savage, there's so many guys on that personnel department that deserve so much credit. And I feel like that's the most impressive part to me personally, is the ability to, give up capital to go up to get someone you love and still be able to not feel like you missed out on 2 picks in the 3rd round, because it feels like Michael Carter, the running back, was a 3rd-round pick. You can argue it feels like Michael Carter, the 2nd, was a 3rd-round pick. Like, it feels like we got these guys earlier, but in reality, we just hit home runs, and the value was just through the roof. So shout out to Joe Douglas. And I love that you guys brought up the surrounding the Zach Wilson with talent. You draft your quarterback at 2. Your next 3 picks are literally in every position around it besides tight end, offensive line, wide receiver, running back. It's everything you want to see from Joe Douglas surrounding your young quarterback. So big time home run. Absolutely. And then Fernando asks, how do you feel about Neal? He has played guard, and he will be a great backup to Becton Fant year 1 and move over to tackle year 2. And how is his scheme fit? He is a great athlete, but wonder the fit. So who wants to talk about Neal? We're not going to get everyone's takes on this, but is there anybody that volunteers to talk about Evan Neal as a prospect?
Sure.
Mike, you want to take it?
Yeah, fuck it. Look, so if you want to take Evan Neal and you have a problem with George Fant playing left or right tackle, look at the Jets 4 or 5 years ago. Look at the 2017, 2018 Jets. If you would have taken a tackle one of those years, it's a completely different situation than it is right now. So if you want to go ahead and draft Evan Neal with the 4th pick, let's say Thibodeau and Hutchinson go 1 and 2, and some quarterback goes number 3. and the Jets have Evan Neal sitting there, and you want to take the guy. You don't want to get rid of George Fant because he was like the third-rated left tackle in football last year. I think the Jets, by the way, will give Becton every chance to win the left tackle job. Matt and I have been talking about this a lot in our podcast. So you say, let's say Mekhi Becton wins the left tackle job, George Fant plays right tackle, you draft Evan Neal, you put him at one of the guards spots, and you keep McGovern as the center. LDT goes away, and McGovern, whatever, you have AVT as the other left guard. So now your offense line is set. Evan Neal is terrific. And then in the future, you can move him over to one of the tackle spots. He's played guard. He's played tackle in college. I think it's a great fit for the Jets. Last year when the Jets were drafting in the first round and they took Zach Wilson, people were wondering if they would keep Sam Darnold and draft Penei Sewell. And one of the arguments against was you don't want to have Mekhi Becton a left tackle, and then you have Sewell playing right tackle, and who's going to take the pay cut if they're going to have to be re-signed in 5 years. And then now you look and you say 5 years, give me a break. We have to look at the next year and the year after that, and then we'll go from there, because I'm a big Mekhi Becton guy, but if you would have asked me last year, I would have said, hey, look, Becton is the left tackle of the future. Who knows what's going to happen? And now you don't know what's going to happen, and Becton might not even be the left tackle of the future. So to not draft a guy like Neal because you are, quote unquote, set at a position like left tackle, I think is ludicrous. I would take Neal. I would figure it out in the interim, plug and play him, and then figure out what's best for his development after that.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, Mike, because we have to realize Morgan Moses is a free agent. He's going to be asking for a lot of money. He might be walking. George Fant, as great of a season that he had, he's going into his last season on his contract, and I don't think he's the long-term answer at right or left tackle for the Jets, even though I would like to re-sign him in the future if he can keep up with that. And Mekhi Becton, I'm a big Mekhi fan. I really genuinely believe that the only thing holding him back is being on the field. Like, if he's healthy, he's our left tackle.
Me too.
I can debate people with that. If he's healthy, he's at left tackle. Like, there's no debate in my eyes. So with Evan Neal, it's really interesting because it's not only you're drafting Evan Neal for this year, but you're drafting for the future of the New York Jets, because it gives you, it gives you flexibility just in case Mekhi Becton does not pan out injury-wise. Then it's okay. You got the luxury of having Evan Neal being the left tackle, or you have him at right tackle or right guard. I think his versatility factor is the biggest reason why I fell in love with Neal as a prospect, because he played right guard with Bama, he played right tackle, and he played left tackle. So I feel like if he's available at 4 and Joe Douglas wants to solidify this offensive line, I would definitely be all for it. I don't think it's a no-brainer that it has to be Neal or bust. Like, there's a lot of other players at 4 that I'm really interested in getting, but I'm definitely a Neal guy. I know that Jets fans are divided on this, and hey, we're going to be divided all throughout the offseason. That's basically what Jets Twitter and Draft Talk is all about around the NFL, right? So now I want to go through a fun little segment here. We're going to go over each free agent that the Jets have, and I'm going to ask you guys individually, and you're just going to tell me yes or no. Are we going to re-sign them, or should we re-sign them? Just overall, your thoughts if we should re-sign any of these players. So I'll start off with Jack. The easy one.
Let's get it.
Braxton Berrios, re-sign or no?
Max contract. He's the greatest player to ever put on the green and white. No, but in all seriousness, Braxton Berrios is, the type of player that a coach dreams of, man. You can put him in multiple spots. He's tough as nails. He's consistent. He's reliable. He's really everything you want out of, a football player. In this tiny little compact machine that is Braxton Berrios. And I love him, man. So yeah, definitely need Berrios on the team next year. I don't know if I have any visions of Berrios ever being, a starting wide receiver for this Jets team, but if he can continue to take the role that he has this year and just be pretty much epic at everything he does, and whenever we need him, we can put him there and he'll just do his thing. You can't understate the value of that. So I think definitely, without a doubt, Berrios needs to be a Jet next year for sure.
Couldn't agree more. Ali, Marcus May, is he on the Jets next year?
That's a tough.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Sorry, man.
That's a
hard one, man. You're giving me the no-brainer.
I'm gonna have to lead to say no. I think there's a good amount of in the free agency class this year. If Jesse Bates is available or Quandre Diggs is available at safety in
Marcus
the
Williams.
free agency.
Yeah, but who's the other
Uh,
safety? I'm just curious. Like, I'm
I
not.
would bring a draft or give Ashton Davis because I feel like they like
Yeah.
Ashton Davis and want to give him more run. But I don't know if I would like to bring Marcus May back. It's just like I wouldn't mind it, but I don't think they will do it. That's just how I feel. I don't really
Fair
think they're
take.
Yeah,
gonna
coming
do
off
it.
an Achilles as well. We
Fair
have
take.
three players coming off Achilles.
Unless he takes a really low, like a low contract, then I can see it happening. But I doubt Marcus May is gonna take a low contract. So yeah, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, man, I think it's tough. I think it's tough for that whole situation. Mike, you're going to get a fairly – we'll see. I'm not going to
Come
call
on,
it
give me
easy or
your
not.
shit. What do we got?
Jamison Crowder.
Oh, so interesting. I actually like Crowder a lot. Coming into this year, you told me the Jets receivers were Corey Davis, Elijah Moore / Mims, because we didn't know Mims was going to be an asshole, and Jamison Crowder. I was very excited. If you told me next year our wide receiver core is Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, and Jamison Crowder for like $4 or $5 million, I would do it in a second. And this is not a knock on Braxton Berrios. I think Crowder is a much better actual receiver than Braxton Berrios. I think Berrios is a valuable player on the team. But I'm prepared to go into 2022 with that as my receiving core. If you want to spend significantly less on upgrading receiver instead of signing, let's say, Allen Robinson or spending a first-round pick on Jameson Williams. If you bring back Jamison Crowder for like $4 or $5 million, oh my God, what can you do to the rest of the roster? And then you still have a very solid receiving core with Davis, Moore, and Crowder. So I would be happy with bringing back Crowder. I don't think the Jets are going to do that. I think the Jets are going to re-sign Braxton Berrios. I think they're going to let Crowder walk, and I think they're going to address receiver, 2/3 somewhere else. Maybe they will draft a guy in the first round. Maybe they will break the bank and trade for Calvin Ridley. Maybe they'll sign Allen Robinson. There's a lot of good free agent receivers. You saw Chris Godwin tear his ACL. Maybe they'll get him on a discount. So there's a lot of things the Jets can do. I don't think they're going to bring back Crowder, but I would be very happy if they did, but only if they use that money somewhere else. We saw in the last couple of off seasons, Joe Douglas went into training camp with excess money. I don't want to see him do that anymore. There's a reason the Jets have excess money is because Zach Wilson's on a rookie contract. Fucking spend the money and provide Zach Wilson with some support. So I hope they do that, and I don't think they're going to bring back Crowder, but I would.
Interesting. So, Ryan, your thoughts on Morgan Moses being a free agent? Will the Jets re-sign him or no?
I don't know. This is a tough one, I think, because he's rock solid. I don't think he's missed a start since like 2015. I think that's the stat. So like availability is so incredibly important, especially on the offensive line. He took a bit of a discount because it was so late in the season and a lot of teams were up against the cap. So I don't know if you see him take that same discount next year, but I think offering him some type of fair contract is the route I'd go. I am kind of in the camp of looking to take an offensive lineman at some point early. So maybe it just sort of gets to be a crowded room, but you don't know who's going to be available at your picks. So don't create a hole if you can avoid it. So it comes down to money for me, I think, on Moses. I would say I like him overall. I think we can upgrade. He'll wind up being a backup once you get Becton and Fant back, but you can't trust Becton to stay healthy. So it's a weird, there's a lot of layers to this one, I think. I'm going to say he probably walks.
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting conversation with Morgan Moses because in a perfect world, we re-sign him. But I think the money situation is going to be the reason why we don't. He's going to look for a bigger contract elsewhere. So Greenbean, I saved an interesting one for you.
Nice.
Faloranzo Fatukasi.
Yeah, I think we're going to let him go because we have guys like Kyle Phillips, Jonathan Marshall ready to fill in. I don't think they're already paying we're already paying JFM. We're about to pay in at least some capacity, in my opinion, Quinnen Williams. We got Carl Lawson. We gave a nice contract to. They're probably going to use an early draft pick on another edge rusher, there's at some point somebody has to be let go and cut free. And here's the truth about Fadukasi is that while I like him a bunch, the beginning of the year, first 6 games, I think it was, he was the number 1 run defender in the NFL. As soon as that stat came out, teams started getting 2 bills plus on us, and he disappeared. You know what I mean? So when you have a guy who's supposed to be the best run stuffer in the world, there should be at least some impact. And he started to come on later in the season, last 3 games or so again. But I think that his inability to stay at that high level the entire season might have an impact. And I think he's just going to want a legit contract. And I think he's going to get one. Now, do I want him to be re-signed? Yeah, sure. I'd love to see them figure out a creative contract with him. But I think, we're going to start to see guys that we like go, and that's healthy to a certain degree. We drafted Jonathan Marshall. Like I said, we have Kyle Phillips. Like him or not, we have Nathan Shepard. So we have guys. Sheldon Rankins has another year on his contract. Are you going to cut him and keep Fadukasi? I'm not really sure what the plan would be there, but my thought is Fadukasi is going to be allowed to hit free agency, and once he does, we're not going to want to match what he gets out there.
Interesting. He's the captain of the defense. I feel like if we do move on from Foley, which is likely, we're going to have to bring in some type of run stuffer, because that's the thing that he provided the most from this Jets team, is providing that run stuffer up the middle. So Matt O'Leary, I kind of already know your answer because of your amazing video that you uploaded the other day of your fixing the 2022 Jets. But Tevin Coleman.
Yes, I would bring him back on a minimum deal, kind of like what he had past year. I thought he had a lot left in the tank than I thought he would. I thought he was pretty much done after he went to San Francisco. But I think having a veteran is the right play there to, bounce off with Michael Carter, who I think should get more of the touches. And then I think you have to bring in like a bigger body bruiser on day 3 of the draft this year to round out the running back room. But I would bring Coleman back to be the second running back. I think that makes sense.
And then I'm going to add, and then the next segment's going to be this: who should we pursue in free agency? And we're going to stick to you, Matt, and go back the other way. So who are some key free agent targets that you would want to see the Jets pursue?
There's a lot. I'll give you one on each side of the ball. And I'm going to steal a lot of popular answers, I think, here, but I go first, so that's my luxury. On defense, I think Marcus Williams would be a perfect fit for this defense. At safety, he's been a ball hawk. I think he has 16 interceptions in his career.
As long as you're not playing the Vikings in the playoffs. Then
yeah, that's really he has that one play that everyone points to, but that
was a rookie.
Yeah, it was an outlier play. He's actually a pretty good tackler. But again, that one sticks out. But solid player. He's 4 years younger than Marcus May also, so I think that would kind of be an upgrade there. And then on offense, I think Dalton Schultz is a perfect fit for this Jets team, because we know how bad the tight end room is. And what I like about him is he's a good blocker too, which I think you desperately need in this system. And he's been improving each year, and he's another one who's still young. He's just 25 years old also. So those are the two guys I have circled that I would go all in for.
Interesting. I love it. Greenbean, anybody that Matt didn't bring up, or do you agree with Matt on who we should pursue in free agency?
Yeah, no, I actually really like those. And, the tight end Schultz is somebody like I was listening to Matt's Just Jets, my weekly hangout with O'Leary. Just today I was listening to it. I didn't finish yet. I'm like halfway through. And he said something. He said, this is the player we should actually be willing to be like the highest bidder for. Just go in there and get him. And I agree. I think now that we have our quarterback, it makes sense. I think Mike was saying it earlier too about let's spend the money. Like now that Zach is here, let's spend the money. Let's get guys in here that can help. Now, something else I think that we should do, and I don't really the truth is I haven't dug into all the free agents yet, but I really think bringing in a vet cornerback would be a smart thing rather than taking a Sauce Gardner or somebody with one of our premium picks, I think bringing in a cornerback to kind of help out the young room and balance that out would be a smart move. Like, it's not just about bringing players in, just bringing a vet in for this, bringing somebody in for this, the biggest name here, the biggest name there. Like, balancing your team. Like, we all know we had the youngest team in the NFL, at least on the field, and we started more rookies than anybody else in the NFL. They did a great job. They performed admirably. But rather than do that again with bringing in another rookie for that particular group, I think that would be a wise place to spend in free agency. So like Matt said, if we bring in a safety and a cornerback, because I agree Marcus May is going to be allowed to float away in the open sea, man. And I think that's probably best. Just take your asshole agent and go away and do that whole thing.
He is an asshole.
Get your 4-game suspension for somebody else and the whole thing. But I think, spending it on that, in free agency, getting a tight end because we need one. We can still bring in a young guy and we have Yaboa developing and all that. That's nice. 2 young guys, a really solid vet that can catch and block, and then spend the money in the cornerback room so we can balance out the Bryce Hall, Michael Carter, Brandon Eccles situation back there. And then I'm really a big fan of bringing in a big safety from the rookie class. So
Nice.
I think having that balanced out with some vets would be the smart move.
Interesting. Very interesting approach there from Greenbean. So we got the final guest joining in for the Jets media live stream of getting everybody in the community together. And that's going to be Jake Asman, the one and only. Jake, welcome in, my man. How are you doing?
Wow, this is incredible. I'm like with Jet royalty right now. Thanks for having me, Richie. This is awesome. Appreciate Jet Nation. You guys all are phenomenal, and I'm glad I could join you to wrap up the show.
Absolutely, Jake. I told them, they were all like, "Where's Jake? Where's Jake?" Because I had you on the thumbnail. I'm like, "Don't worry, he's coming at 8:30. Jake will be here to finish off the stream, and I'm happy that you're here, my man." For those guys that don't know, Jake is a YouTuber. He covers all sports. He covers the Jets. He is on Houston radio. Down below in the description, make sure you guys check him out. He's been on the channel before. You guys are definitely already familiar with what Jake's got going. So I'm actually going to ask you the next question, Jake, before we get to Ryan on this question. Who should the Jets pursue in free agency? We already went over who the Jets should re-sign of our own. We went over the draft. Actually, we did not go over this upcoming draft. We already recapped our own draft. So what's your thoughts about the free agency class, and who should the Jets be looking out there to pursue?
Yeah, I'll give you guys a name that I'm sure it's come up before. I haven't heard the whole conversation because obviously I just tuned in. But the guy that I cover here in Houston, Justin Reed, is a safety. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. I do not see any scenario where the Texans franchise him or really where he'd re-sign with the Texans. I get the sense from talking to people around the team and just people that know Justin Reed is that he kind of wants a clean slate. He's a really good player. The numbers this year probably don't show it, but he was adjusting to a new scheme. He was a 3rd-round pick in 2018. Really good player. I think he would fit the Saleh scheme. He'd be someone that I think they should spend money on. Like, if the Jets are going to go out there and try and nail this draft, I think they need to fix the defense in free agency. So everything they do in the draft could be either someone that gets to the quarterback or helps out the quarterback. Like, I'm all in on making sure Zach Wilson is the guy, and the only way to know is to help him. So free agency is huge, so they could fill out this defense. And Justin Reed's the guy I'm pounding the table for in free agency. I think he'd be a great fit at the safety spot.
That's interesting, Jake. As you know, you're very well in tune with the Houston market over there, and the safety is a gigantic hole for this Jets team. So I'd be all in. I'd be all in there. So Ryan, any big-time free agents that you want to see the Jets pursue, whether it's the top-tier guys that you want to throw the bag after, or there's any mid-class guys, some depth. So let me know, Ryan, any of the free agents that you want to see the Jets pursue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how Jake ended that. He said, we got to fix the defense in free agency, because that totally has changed over the course of the last few weeks for me. Originally, I was looking at guys like Godwin, guys like Gallup to try and sign, both torn ACLs now. Jameson Williams winds up tearing his ACL. So it's like, okay, what do we do at wide receiver? Like, that's going to be something weird. But I was like, defense, in my mind, I would really like to trade down from 4. I'm not trading down until day of draft, because in case one of Thibodeau or Hutchinson somehow wind up being there, I would take them. So in free agency, I'm probably looking to sign someone like Chandler Jones. I think bringing someone in like that does not prevent you from signing someone or like drafting someone. Like if Thibodeau's there or if Hutchinson's there, you can still take them. They're still young. But I would love to trade out. I am totally on the hype train for Giants are going to take a quarterback at 5. I don't care if Giant fans don't want to hear it. I just need someone behind them to believe it. Like the Falcons, the Washington football team, the Panthers. Get someone to jump in front of them. I would love to trade down. So Chandler Jones, to me, maybe someone like J.C. Jackson, steal him away from New England. But I think fixing the defense, safety, edge rusher would be a good move in free agency. And I think Robert Saleh having the clout that he has on the defensive side of the ball, even though we didn't have a big impact this year, I think we could go a long way and do some really interesting things. Because you trade down now, all of a sudden, maybe you're looking at, I like Icky. I think he's a phenomenally versatile guard that you might be able to take at 8 or 11. I want Nakobe Dean. Like you could do some really cool stuff, dude. I love the idea of trading down, picking up a first next year. If I could convince Washington to jump in front of the Giants, that's the move for me, I think.
Interesting. There's so many different ways that the Jets are going to go approach this offseason, and I love hearing all of our approaches because they're all different. There's some similar. So, Mike, what's your thoughts about this upcoming Jets free agency, and is there any one or two guys that you see that they should definitely pursue?
No, it's super interesting what Ryan said about Chandler Jones. Is crazy because in a good way, if the Jets are getting a Carl Lawson back as if he was a $15 million free agent for absolutely nothing. So Carl Lawson is going to come in, and that's super exciting to me, just like Mosley was last year. So Mosley sat out in 2020, comes back in 2021. You're not accounting for him as part of the salary cap in that season, and you're like, hey, we're going to go into the offseason with Mosley already under contract. Same thing with Carl Lawson this year is very exciting to me. I would look towards offense on free agency because I think the Jets are going to spend, at least 3 of their 4 top 50 draft picks on defense. I would look very closely at Brandon Shreve from the Redskins, the Washington football team, or maybe the Washington Commanders, because Shreve is a Pro Bowler last 3 seasons. He was an All-Pro in 2020. Yes, he's missed some games. He's played about 65% of the snaps over the last 3 seasons. I want to upgrade right guard. Instead of paying LDT $5 or $6 million to man right guard, I want a significant upgrade with a guy like Brandon Shreve. You want to pay him 12, 13, 14, 15 million bucks. Go ahead and do it. The Jets raised my season tickets by $100. I better go to something good. I want to go to Brandon Shreve. And then and I would also look very closely at Allen Robinson. I understand the negatives about Allen Robinson. The guy had 350 yards this year. And he might have a similar skill set in terms of Corey Davis. He's not a burner. He's not an absolute gigantic dude. He's not a slot guy. And you might have a little bit of a logjam there. But the last time the Jets took a receiver from the Bears, who was a multiple-time Pro Bowler, it was Brandon Marshall coming off a bad year, and he went for 109 catches, 1,500 yards, and 14 touchdowns. So I will take my chances with Allen Robinson. I will take my chances with Brandon Shreve, and then go draft all the defensive talent in the world in the first round. I really like what Greenbean said about the cornerback position too. If you want to go after a guy like Stephon Gilmore in free agency, a veteran corner, maybe a Joe Hayden, a Patrick Peterson to secure the cornerback room, go for it, because I said last year, and it's not me being like, oh my God, I'm a visionary. Joe Douglas should have probably signed a veteran corner, and then the Jets go out and have the 30th ranked pass defense, even though Bryce Hall and Brandon Echols and Michael Carter made significant strides on defense. So I hope the Jets really go all in this year. You have a rookie quarterback in his second year. This is when all the teams in the league go all out and try to compete. You look at the Bills, you look at the Ravens, you look at any team in football in the last 10 years, the Seahawks, when they went on their championship runs. You have a rookie quarterback on their rookie deal, not a literal rookie quarterback, a young quarterback on the rookie deal, and you surround that guy with as much talent as possible. Use all the assets. Go get Zach Wilson, everything possible. Spend every single morsel of money, and let's try to win a Super Bowl by 2025.
Let's go, baby. 2025, we're winning it all. You love it. You love it. So I know we didn't hear Ali and Jack's takes on the free agency, but we're running out of time, so I kind of want to pivot to the upcoming draft. So I'm going to ask Ali and Jack this first about who we should look out to get in the first round with picks 4 and 10, whether that's trading back, trading up. Is there anybody in particular you're looking at? So Ali, I'm going to start with you on this one. In a perfect world, without any trades, who would you want the Jets to select with the 4th and 10th picks?
I'm not gonna say the exact players or anything like that, but the way that I want to see them approach it is I would want to go cornerback with the 4th overall pick if they do not trade down. And I do like maybe taking a wideout or an offensive lineman with the 10th. I feel like it's just we need to go with skill players. I think we need to upgrade that defense. So if getting a top corner, because a lot of these top corners in the league go with a high draft pick. So if the Jets can somehow hit on one of these guys, that's huge, especially for a cornerback room that's struggling a little bit. So I would probably try to go cornerback with the 4th overall pick, and the 10th, try to surround. You got to work with your quarterback. You need to go and get either an offensive lineman or go and get a wideout and get him talent on the offense. You need to just keep adding talent around your quarterback. I just believe that they're going to do whatever they can to upgrade that offense throughout the offseason. No one spoke about Calvin Ridley. If he's available, I think the Jets are 100% should go out and draft, get him, whatever it takes to get him on this football team. But yeah, I think that's what it should be, either a cornerback or even an edge. If one of those guys drop to 4, those top guys drop to 4, and then I would go wide receiver, offensive line.
Interesting. So my quick thoughts of the 4th and 10th, and then we'll get Jack's thoughts. Hearing Joe Douglas talk about in this press conference how much they prioritize the line of scrimmage, it just makes me feel like deep down that we're going to draft a trenchman in the first round of both of these picks on offense and defense. Now, could I be wrong? 100%. Now, if I had to predict, I feel like Karlaftis at 4, and then maybe, and some people will kill me for this, Linderbaum at 10. And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but just me knowing Joe Douglas, I just feel like he values the line of scrimmage more than we've ever seen at the Jets front office position, where he's going to see the best center in college football, the best interior offensive lineman available. And I cannot see Joe Douglas passing on that man. And I feel like he's just going to fall in love with him in the draft process. And that's definitely a big time option. But if that's what they're going to do, they need to get a wide receiver either via the trade market, maybe Calvin Ridley, or maybe getting another one in free agency, or early wide receiver in the 2nd round. There's a lot of different avenues the Jets can go in the draft. I just feel like even Neal at 4 makes a lot of sense for me. And then at 10, maybe you can get an edge rusher that drops down there if there is one, or you go wide receiver, or you can go Nakobe Dean. I mean, Dean, I'm falling in love with his ability to be next to CJ Mosley next year is making me like giddy sometimes. And then there's other players at 10 that I love, like Burks, the wide receiver from Arkansas. I love Jameson Williams, but obviously now he's down with the torn ACL, so I feel like he's going to fall in the draft class just a little bit. I'm just really excited about this draft because we have so many awesome picks at the top of the first round, and there's going to be so many debates, and there's going to be so many things leading up to it. The Senior Bowl is going to be huge. There's going to be a lot of things leading up that are going to be changing, and I'm probably one week going to say we should get this player. The next week I'll be like, no, that player sucks. I want this player. I'm going to be changing my mind all the time. So please bear with me. But hearing Joe Douglas talk about line of scrimmage, it just makes me believe, and I believe this philosophy, edge rusher at 4, offensive lineman at 10, and then go skill positions in round number 2 and go heavy on skill positions in the trade market and free agency, because you want to get blue chip guys on that line of scrimmage. The edge was not good this year at all for the Jets. Obviously, Carl Lawson, Vinny Curry being down for the season was a big reason for that. So imagine a guy like Karlaftis, or maybe you never know, Thibodeau or Hutchinson fall on the 4, and then getting a guy like Linderbaum at center, moving McGovern to right guard, and that's just brick by brick, making this offensive line one of the best in football. It just makes me giddy. I just feel like Joe Douglas, that's a really big option for him. So, Jack, who are your thoughts about the Jets draft in the first round when it comes to the 4th and 10th pick, whether position-wise, specific players? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and feed you guys a line of BS. I've done zero draft research at this point. It's on my list. But yeah, I know there's a few edge rushers out there. Give me one of them if possible. Give me either Neal or Linderbaum. Trenches, baby. Bada bing. How you doing? Let's get
There
it.
we go.
I love
So
it.
we agree. The trenches is where it all starts and ends, in my opinion. And I feel like that's something that we can all agree on. So now moving into the second round, 35 and 38. So Jake, I want to hear from you first about this. What are your thoughts about the second round for the Jets? And, and just give your thoughts. And obviously, I want to hear the first round as well. So give me your overall mock draft for 4, 10, 35, and 38.
So this will change 1,000 times between now and late April. So I'm going to say it again. Do not take an opinion I had in early January and then say, well, you said this. It's like, I know it's going to change a lot, especially when I'm getting intel on what the Texans can do in front of the Jets at number 3. So keep that in mind. I had Connor Rogers on the show today earlier from Bleacher Report and the Big Jet Fan Badlands podcast. He does a great job. And I kind of liked what he had in his mock here, right? He had the Jets potentially going, offensive line at 4. He put the Jets getting, I think it was Evan Neal he had at 4 for the Jets. And then he had Traylon Burks at 10. I like that idea, assuming the Jets use free agency to fix this defense. I think the biggest thing they got to do is that with their draft picks, these premium draft picks, these 4 top 40 picks, my philosophy is, especially with the first round, is either get to the quarterback or helps the quarterback. So Karlaftis at 4, sign me up, because he's certainly someone that could get after the quarterback if he is indeed the best edge rusher. If they were to go Linderbaum at 10, well, he protects the quarterback. Great. I'm all on board with that. If they went Burks at 10, great. I'd love it. They went Jamison Williams at 10 pre-injury. I was all about it. So I'm good with them taking a wide receiver with one of the 2 first-round picks. I'm open to them trading back as long as it's not too far back, because I need them to get players that help Zach Wilson this year. I'm tired of hearing about draft picks in the future. It's nonsense. Douglas is going into year 4, third full offseason. He's got to go out there, and they got to win games next year. They got to win at least 8 games. So whatever they do that can help them win, I'm all about it right away. And then in the second round, look, Trey McBride to me makes a lot of sense, assuming he's there at tight end. Tight end's got to be something they use free agency for and something they use the draft for. So if McBride or Ruckert or whoever they fall in love with here at the Senior Bowl is the guy they want to draft at 35 or 38, sign me up. I think premium positions and guys that help Zach Wilson take the next step has to be the priority with the top 40 picks.
Yeah, I think you and I align very much with this Jets draft class. And like you said, we're going to be changing up big time all over the place. This player I love, next week I hate him. It's going to be a lot of fun going into this draft all the way throughout the offseason. So, Ryan, I want to hear your thoughts about the upcoming draft. Give me your ideal first round and second round. We're not going to really get into the later parts in this draft just because we got 4 picks at the top 38. So let's talk about those 4.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways we can go, and it kind of depends on what happens in free agency. In my mind, I'd love to get one of the top edges. If we can get someone like the Texans or the Lions to fall in love with the quarterback and have one of the edges fall to us, it would be absolutely amazing. If you stay at 4, I think it's Karlaftis or Neal if he's there. I do think offensive line with one of those 2 picks is probably a good move. I really like Nakobe Dean at 10. I also like Traylon Burks a lot. This guy just seems like he's going to be absolutely elite. I can't wait to see how big his hands are at the combine and everything. I wouldn't be ashamed at that. I wouldn't be upset if we took Linderbaum. I think trenches, offense, defense, but there's different ways you can handle it. Then free agency, like Jake said, I like Trey McBride a lot. I think you take your tight end there and in free agency. I think, like Matt said earlier, go after Dalton Schultz and draft someone in the second round. I think it makes a ton of sense. You revamp that entire position. Outside of that, I think there's a few centers that could be had, maybe not at the top end of the second, but maybe the third round. I'm not exactly sure. It really depends who's going to fall out of the first round, because there's going to be some really good talent, because we have 2 picks before pick 40. Was it pick 30? Is it 36 and 38? Is that what
35.
Yeah, 35 and 38. I'm actually making a graphic as we speak about that.
Yeah, 35 and 38. So 2 top end guys that are going to fall out of the first round. I'm all about it. So there's a lot of different ways we can go.
So many different ways. It's going to be so much fun. Look at these picks that we got. Thank you, Jamal Adams. Thank you, Sam Darnold. Matt, your thoughts about these 4 picks in your ideal scenario for Joe Douglas and his staff?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that Joe can go that I would be satisfied with. So I think we're at pick 4. I'm at either edge or offensive line. So either Karlaftis or Neal there. I'd really like to go receiver with the second first round pick. I was big on Jameson Williams, but obviously with the ACL injury, that's going to take a hit. But I too am buying the stock of Traylon Burks. I think he could be an absolute freak with the ball. He's a bigger body receiver, which I think is something the Jets could use as a red zone threat. And then for 35 and 38, that's where I think you could look for on the defensive side. I like Jordan Battle a lot, safety from Alabama. I like Christian Harris a lot, linebacker from Alabama. So I think I'm probably going one offensive piece or I guess 2 if you want to go offensive tackle and then wide receiver in the first round. But then I think round 2 is when you could find some quality starters to punch in on your defense.
Interesting. Yeah. If any of you guys don't know, Matt O'Leary came out with a great video 2 days ago. He basically took the job of Joe Douglas and redid the entire Jets team. He fixed them. He cut players. He drafted players. He signed players. So make sure you guys go check out because he put a lot of work into that. Great job with that video, Matt.
Thank you.
Mike.
Hey.
Your thoughts about the Jets draft in the first 2 rounds? What are your ideals? Any prospects that you want to see them draft?
Yeah, look, Ryan said it the best. If the best case scenario for the Jets is if the Lions or another team that's picking early in the first round, maybe the Texans fall in love with one of these stupid quarterbacks like Matt Corral or Kenny Pickett, and they want to draft this guy number 2, number 3, the Jets could move up, they could move back, they could take it one of the 3 blue chip prospects, Neal, Thibodeau, or Hutchinson, that would fall to number 4 in that scenario. Other than that, I want the Jets to make a concerted effort to have some kind of advantage on and identity in this football team. If the Jets, maybe they sign a guy like Shreve and draft another offensive lineman or draft 2 offensive linemen or do something where you look at the Jets and you say, holy shit, how is anybody going to get through the Jets offensive line? The way you looked at, let's say, the Cowboys a couple years ago when they had DeMarco Murray and he's running for 1,800 yards and Dak is standing behind the line of scrimmage for 45 seconds throwing to whoever the fuck he wants. Because how are you going to get through the Jets line who is, pretty solid this year or about average? If you make some significant additions to that line, people are going to look around the league and say, how are we going to pass rush these guys? How are we going to play run defense against the Jets who have 3 or 4 first-round picks on their offensive line? So I hope Joe Douglas sticks to his guns, and the Jets have about 6 to 8 positions that they really need to upgrade in the offseason. They have $65 to $70 million to do it, and they have these 4 picks that you're talking about. I want the Jets to go all in and use those picks and do something that you say, hey, look, the Jets have an identity, and this is who the Jets are going to be. Good luck. Come play us.
Yeah, man. I think that all we can hope is the Jets to hit the 2022 draft class just the way they did the 21 draft class, because last year's draft class was through the roof. I think we already recapped it. We went over each player. I think we can all agree that they did a phenomenal job, Joe Douglas and company, for bringing in the right guys to surround Zach Wilson, and it has to be the similar approach. We got to make this the priority. It's Zach Wilson's team right now, and we have never had a franchise quarterback since Joe Namath. We've been waiting for one for our entire lives, and now we have someone who's coming off, not the best rookie season. He showed some flashes in, obviously, later in the season, 5 straight games, no interceptions, showed little glimpses of wow talent. Now let's go all in and surround him to the point where there's 0 excuses for Zach Wilson, to the point where there is so much protection up front. There's weapons galore around him. Like, go all in. And obviously you cannot ignore the defense because the defense was so bad last year. But I really feel like this draft has a potential to be huge for the Jets, because if we hit on these draft picks, like especially these top 4, I think that we have a chance to actually have like a serious team for the future, because what makes this refreshing to me personally about the Jets regime right now with Joe Douglas is they are building it properly in terms of ripping it from the ground up. And unfortunately, the reality with that is it takes time for that to come to fruition, instead of just the quick fixes, signing veterans past their prime like Tremaine Johnson and Le'Veon Bell. Like, we're actually ripping it from the ground up. We already got through the terrible rebuilding first year in terms of just playing the kids, knowing knowing it's going to be hell going in. Saleh knew it. The entire coaching staff expected it to be a roller coaster season. That's exactly what happened. And now we're going into a year number 2 with Saleh hoping that we hit on these draft picks and we get aggressive free agency and bring in big time talent, because this Jets team has a foundation laid on offense. We got to continue to add to it. And I'm really excited for this future of this Jets team. I don't know where Greenbean went, but unfortunately he's not here right now, so I can't give his thoughts on the draft. So guys, we're gonna wrap it up right now. This was so awesome to have all you guys in at the same exact time. I definitely want to do this again sometime throughout the off season. Definitely can't make it a weekly thing just because bearing everyone's schedules. I tried to find the perfect time that I can get everybody in at the same time. I even reached out to other creators and they were not able to join. So hopefully I can do this again and get even more of you guys on. And it was just a blast. It really was awesome. Guys, if you enjoyed this, if you really did enjoy this stream, please make sure you smash that like button. It really does mean a lot. Let's get to 200 likes. We got 180 likes with around 300 of you guys tuning in. So if you guys enjoyed this, you want to see more Jets Avengers like streams like this, don't forget to hit that like button and get that to over 200 likes. We greatly appreciate that. And please, please, please do not forget to go down the description, click on every single link, and subscribe to all these gentlemen if you're not already. But if you're on YouTube, you should already be subscribed to everybody, right? Am I right? So to finish it off, we're going to go around the table one more time, give you a quick recap of if you want to give your thoughts about the Jets, where to find you in terms of content, and your overall thoughts about everything related to the stream right now and anything. So starting off with you, Jack.
A pleasure, as always. A pleasure to interact with all you fine gentlemen and interact with everybody in the chat as well. And we're stuck with this shitty team for the rest of our lives. So we're in it for the long haul. And yeah, just happy to be here with you guys. And thank you, Richie, for setting all this up. And thank you to everybody in the chat that is, making this doable. Otherwise, we'd just be sitting here, talking amongst ourselves. So yeah, appreciate all you guys. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Until next time.
For sure, Jack. Always appreciate you helping me out. Ali, how about you, my man?
Yeah, man, this was really fun because I feel like the chat was also very interactive the entire 2 hours. So they were having conversations with each other and all that stuff. So that's awesome to have. But yeah, I mean, we need to do this more because I feel like all of us have like different opinions on stuff, and you just bounce off each other, which is awesome to have. So again, you can follow me on Loyal NY Jet Fans on Instagram. And announcement, I haven't officially, and I announced it on my page, but not on live stream. I am going to the Senior Bowl. I'll be reporting there as a media member. So there's going to be a lot of content on there, on my website, my YouTube channel, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. And the Jets, it was before even the Jets were going to be coaching there. So it's going to be even more connected with my page and everything. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. And hopefully you guys stick around. It's because of you guys why I went there. So I appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys here in the podium. And I'll see you guys soon.
Well, damn, Ali, I didn't know you didn't announce it. I was like, yeah, at least go to the Senior Bowl.
I did announce it on Instagram and stuff, but I haven't announced it on like YouTube Live.
My bad if I called you out. But I want to get to the super chat because I did not get to it. My apologies. There's a lot of comments, and I really hate when I miss super chat. So, Tuke, $5. What do you think about trading for Calvin Ridley or signing T.Y. Hilton? I'm all in on Calvin Ridley if he checks out mentally, and if the Atlanta Falcons are even interested in trading for him, trading him away, obviously. I think Calvin Ridley adding to the receiver room of Corey Davis and Elijah Moore and potentially Braxton Berrios would open up so many great things for Zach Wilson. And that gives the Jets a lot of flexibility in the draft where they don't feel like they have to spend it on a blue chip wide receiver because we just got a wide receiver number 1 in Ridley. Signing T.Y. Hilton, I don't know about that one. He's a little up in the air for me. I feel like he's very injury prone and didn't really have that much of a season this year with the Colts. I'd rather them go a little for a veterans minimum, maybe, but I just feel like he's not going to go anywhere. He's a Colt for life. So Mike, anything you like to say before we let you go? And Duke, thank you for the $5 donation, my man. My apologies for not getting to it earlier, my man. My apologies.
Chitty chitty bang bang. Oh, Matthew Smith just commented something. No, I hope the Jets trade for Ridley, man. The guy had 90 catches for 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2020. But just remember, guys, the Jets are going to win a Super Bowl in the 2020s, this decade. It's going to happen. There's been, and before you get too down on the Jets, there's been 12 teams who have never won a Super Bowl. So the Jets have won a Super Bowl, and it was on this day in 1969. So feel good about that. Go back and watch the highlights. Get ready for Zach Wilson and the Jets to win a Super Bowl in the 2020s. The Jets have unbelievable assets. They have the most draft capital in football. If you look at the draft chart, the Jets have 600 more points in draft capital than any other team in football. They have $70 million in cap space. They are absolutely locked and loaded. We have a coach. We have a GM that we believe in. We have a young quarterback that we like. We have a young running back, a young receiver, a bunch of young corners, a cool linebacker. We have a sick defensive line. We have the left guard that PFF rated as the #1 left guard rookie in the league. We have a fucking left tackle who's a monster, giant maniac dude who's going to come back and kill people. Is going to pancake block everybody in sight. We're going to kill people the next couple of years. Get pumped up, get fired up. The Jets are coming back in the 2020s. We're going to like these uniforms. We're going to love the team. The Jets are going to win the division in 2022. You heard it here first.
I love the energy. I love that. We're going into 2022 with that exact energy, baby. Love that, Mike. Love it. Matt, anything you'd like to say before we end off the stream, my man?
Yeah, it was a blast as always. Greenbean apologizes. He just texted me saying
That's awesome.
So for both Greenbean and myself, we appreciate you having us on. It was an absolute blast. Let's do it again.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. Always a pleasure having you on the stream. Ryan, how about you, bro?
Yeah, a lot of fun. Glad you got it together. Yeah, you know where to find me. Jets Talk 24/7. I'll be doing Senior Bowl stuff. I'll be doing draft coverage stuff. I'll be doing free agent stuff. I can't wait to do my mock off season. Matt's got me all sorts of fired up, so I gotta kick my ass into gear. But I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course, Ryan, of course. And Jake, it was a pleasure to have you on for these last 30 minutes. We got Hawk saying that you are the best free agent pickup this year. So we're a pleasure to have you as a Jets content creator. So Jake, anything you'd like to say before we let you go?
Yeah, Richie, thanks for putting this together, man. Thanks for the opportunity to come on. Sorry I couldn't be there for the whole thing. I had a prior obligation, aka my day job. So the second I got off the radio and drove home, I did everything as quick as possible to decide on. So thanks for putting it together. I seriously think the Jet fan base is obviously one of the best in the NFL, but the YouTube fan base in particular. I mean, covering the Texans here in Houston and just seeing other NFL teams, I don't think a lot of other NFL teams have this many really good content creators on the internet. So the Jet fan base is special. And when they do finally win that championship, it's going to make all the nonsense, all the BS we've dealt with our entire lives, essentially, mean so much more when they finally do win. So thanks again for putting it together. It's been an honor to be with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we do win that Super Bowl, I'm having the craziest stream. I'm having like 100. Everyone in the chat is tuning in. Like it's gonna be, I don't know the max that StreamYard allows, but it's gonna be crazy when that happens. Not if, when it happens. So guys, I appreciate all the support in the chat. This was so much fun. Expect more Jets content at Jets Media all throughout the offseason. We got draft talk, we got free agency talk, Senior Bowl talk, so much stuff coming your way. And don't forget to check me out on Touchdown Kingdom. That's my NFL YouTube channel. Just came out with my wild card predictions, covering the spreads, going over some bets. A lot of great stuff over there in Touchdown Kingdom. So again, thank you guys so much for all the support this season. It was so much fun. I wanted to end off the season with a special stream for you guys, getting all the top creators out there in one stream together. I know there's a lot of other creators that was not able to get in here. I want to get all of them in at once. Eventually, I've reached out to a bunch of other ones, and I'm going to reach out to other ones in the future. So if you're watching this video, I want to have you on. Let me know. And again, appreciate all the support. Don't forget to like the video. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to everyone's channels down below in the description. Let's go Jets, baby. Jets Nation is the best. Jets Twitter, Jets YouTube, Jets Instagram, all over social media. Jets Super Bowl champions 2025, baby.